Hello and welcome to The Labour Social with me and Phil Morehouse, and Josh Russell has joined us. There are going to be more people joining us. Super Tansky says she should be here at around 9:30. So if you want to stay tuned for Super Tansky, she should be on soon. And Wayne Lynch is going to be joining us, and also I think Scott is going to be joining us as well. And I don't think Ollie can make it tonight, unfortunately. But let's kick off. So has anything happened over the last 24 hours that would make me want to open this bottle of wine and drink some of it?
Not if you ask Tory MPs. In fact, the number 10 actually say, do you know what? We didn't learn anything, which was rather frank of them. Like, who comes out after something like this and says, we learned no lessons?
We learnt nothing at all. We learnt nothing. I'd say good day to you, sir. Scott has entered the chat. All right, Scott, how you doing, mate? Oh, we can't hear him yet. He's still connecting to audio. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So I've just heard news from Phil that Scott seems to have frozen. No, Scott, sort out your internet.
I'm here.
Trump could have got fined. He could have got put in jail for contempt of court, but he's actually just been fined instead, which is a bit of a shame. We'd like to see him in jail. I'd like to see him behind bars. Yeah, he's been found.
He breached his conditions,
blah, 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 blah.
whatever they would call it.
He's talking too much, man. He's talking too much.
Well, he always talks too much.
But he's really talking too much.
He can't help himself.
So
obviously.
he ignored his gag order, and the judge said that post there is breach of your conditions. Take it down. He didn't take it down. So then he brought him in today and said, I might imprison you. I'm going to have a think about it. He thought about it and fined him $5,000, which is worthless.
Canal is asking if there's a German word for Schadenfreude.
Very good.
Thanks very much for the super chat, Canal. Over in Singapore. So yeah, obviously there's the underlying all the horrors that are going on in Gaza and Israel at the moment, but the news from the UK and the US at the moment has been people who have effed around in the past and now seem to be finding out. So the Tories did really, really badly in the elections yesterday. Two of the co-conspirators with Trump for trying to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia have flipped like pancakes. They have. So that's Cheeseborough. Is it John Cheeseborough? Is that his name? Can't remember. And Sidney Powell, who was called the Kraken. The Kraken, she's flipped as well. Thanks very much to Di there for £30. Thank you very much, Di. A bottle of Celebration Supermarket Bubbly, each for Phil and Graham. Do you drink champagne, Phil?
I don't know.
You don't? Like Great. That means 2 bottles for me. Fantastic. Great news. Now we'll get you some cider. Do you drink cider?
I do like cider, yeah.
Okay, we'll get you some cider. Get you some fancy cider. Do you like fancy cider, or is it just...
I don't know. It can be a bit wrong. I like pear cider.
Yeah, I do as well. Brothers pear cider is a fixture of Glastonbury for anyone who's been to Glastonbury.
That is fancy cider.
Brothers is fancy.
Yes.
Really?
Cider to me is Strongbow, White Lightning.
Oh, White Lightning. Sorry. No, you've got to draw the line somewhere, for goodness sake.
White Lightning in the park.
Oh, my God, no.
I'm going back to youth on that one.
Perfect. Brilliant.
Jim Jordan lost the another speaker vote as well, didn't he? So that's,
he's now. It's got to come to this.
Hasn't he just now? Haven't they decided now? There's no point. They're just going to try and give the powers to this, like
the interim guy,
stand-in,
like basically the supply teacher.
They're going to give the supply teacher the power to actually start enacting laws, because one of the big problems they've got is they can't actually give any military spending or any aid spending. Wayne has joined the chat. Hi, Wayne. Unless Congress is sitting, or both houses of Congress are sitting, and they can't sit without a speaker.
How embarrassing is this look, though, to Americans? Because the Republicans say that they should run the country. They can't even choose a spokesperson, basically.
Yeah, they can't even choose someone to represent them out of themselves. Never mind, the electorate at large.
It went to 13 rounds of votes, didn't it, for the last one? So they've got a way to go yet, haven't they?
Yeah, they are.
No, he's given up. Apparently, that's what I heard last.
I thought that.
yes.
He had another vote today. So the first vote, he had 20 people in his party say no. The second vote, he had 22 people. And I think the third vote, he had 25 people. So instead of narrowing the gap, he was just annoying more and more people. And they were just like, sod it, no, not voting for him. And he put himself in this predicament by to get himself the position of speaker back in January. He said, I will take a deal, which means that I only need one person to object to me being speaker to trigger a recall or whatever they call it, vote, to get rid of me. Which they did.
Apologies, everyone.
Hello, Wayne.
My computer likes to, as soon as I want to use it, it's like, nah, you're all right. I'm just waking up now, and then everything turns on at the same time. I've got Skype opening up, I've got Zoom opening up, and it's like, whoa. It doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, Tory MP's waking up this morning, then, wasn't it?
Anyway, hello, gentlemen. How are you all?
We're good. Just big shout out to Robert there. $10 super chat. I feel that the next general election will be general election 1997 Mark II.
At the very least.
I think it's. You're very confident.
That's what I worry about.
No,
I worry about 92.
Yeah, no, all the signs are like look at everything. Like the Conservatives are getting everything wrong. You've got some Tory MPs who think, oh no, it's just that all our voters didn't turn up to vote. It says, yeah, that means they're not your voters anymore, doesn't it, you dickheads? And they're suddenly going to come out the woodwork for the general election. It's like, why? Why do you think that? They don't like you. Like the ones who do turned up. I get that in a by-election, that a lot of people want to vote to change the government, and you can't do that in a by-election like this unless like the parliamentary figures were really tight. So, but that applies just as much to Labour voters as Conservative voters.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're not doing anything to attract their voters. The things they've been doing to piss off their voters, they want to do more of. Like there's some Tory MPs going, oh no, we need to push the migration and culture wars. It's like, you have been doing it, haven't been working. No, we need to do it harder. Oh, you want to do the wrong thing harder? All right then. And
excuse me, what did you just say? This is a family show. You can't just do the wrong thing harder.
Very attacked.
But doesn't this sort of demonstrate that our democratic system is just secular? Like
it's
13 years and next lot in. Because we're bored here.
Well, this is why we need to change the voting system so we can have governments that evolve rather than just lurching from one side to the other. Everything that this Labour make and do in the next 10 years can be undone by the Tories in the following 10.
At least represent the public. Like if the public under PR, we end up with a crap government. Well, that's on the public. We can go out into the street and say, random people in the street, this is your fault. But at the moment we can't because the majority didn't vote for the Conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's only some people's fault.
Or Sunak.
There's I get pushback. Obviously running a campaign about PR, obviously I get engaged in a lot of these, and I get pushback from some people. Be like, but wouldn't proportional representation let the far right kind of have seats in Parliament? I was like, if that's what people choose, then that's what people choose. And the point is, you either want people's votes to count or you don't. It's really that simple. And then you have to do what the Tories always talk about, which is you have to win the war of ideas, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, it's not just about that, is it? It's the media as well and education. And
yes.
So.
I heard a comment from a young guy. It was on I think it was a Navarro News super chat, and he said, "Look, I voted for the Greens," and he was like, "What's the point? I live in a massively conservative area. Literally no point in me voting." And that's the sad thing about it.
That's not going to happen now, though, because even the massively conservative areas are up for grabs. After last night, you had two very, very safe Tory seats, one of which had never flipped to Labour, ever.
No. Oh, yeah. If we go through Mid-Bedfordshire, so the history of Mid-Bedfordshire is...
in the 1930s?
It's set up, it was set up in 1918, Conservative won it, then Liberal, then Conservative, then Liberal, then Conservative from 1931 all the way up to today.
Wow.
than Labour.
Wow.
It's one of the safest seats they've got. And, and it will be their seat again. But,
You think they're going to win it in the next election?
What Labour have showed is they can take this sort of seat. So you find a seat like this that Labour never would have touched in the past, but with a smaller majority, and they'll take it.
You see, I fear that I live in Basildon, and there's absolutely no chance of Labour getting in here. Too many.
I'm the same. I live in a very, very strong.
I think you might be surprised. I think you might be surprised in this election.
I saw someone say, and I haven't gone through all the stats myself yet, but I saw someone say that, basically any Tory majority under 15,000 is basically a threat now.
I might even say a bit more than that.
300 seats.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think there'll be some seats going with larger majorities than that. I mean, not like the likes of Mid Bedfordshire, because remember, if you look at Mid Bedfordshire and Tamworth from 2019, Tamworth looks the safer seat, but it wasn't really. It was a Brexit because it was a very pro-Brexit area, so it attracted a lot of Brexit. So again, if you look at the recent by-elections there, 2019 rather, got this nearly 20,000 majority. 2017, it was tighter, but then 2015, UKIP were in third place. So it was one of these where Brexit screwed it. But now that Brexit is not seen as a big issue by a lot of voters, it's not, or at least it's not seen as a voting issue for Westminster elections, then it can revert back to what it always used to be, which is a bellwether seat, which is when Labour in the ascendancy, Labour will take it. Because, the history of Tamworth is flipping between Conservatives and Labour.
There was someone said in the chat that the economy is a lot worse than it was in '97.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
The situation is a lot worse. And I just want to show on. I'm using Google here for the GDP in the UK in 1993, right, in the first year of the incoming Tory government. The incumbent Tory government. Our GDP figure was just over $1 trillion. In 97, when Labour got in, it was over $1.5 trillion. So it had gone up a good £500 million in that space of time.
Dollars, if you
dollars. Sorry. And then if you look at the UK GDP in 2007, it was around $3 trillion. If you look at the UK gross domestic product in 2014, it was around $3 trillion. If you look at the score in 2022, it was around $3 trillion. That's remarkable. So 15 years, we've not seen our economy grow substantially above what it was in 2007. And that is, let's put aside all the culture war bullshit and all the Brexit stuff and everything else. That alone should be the noose that we use for the Tories, because there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse whatsoever. People go, but we had COVID, but we had the invasion of Ukraine. Other countries had that.
Well, it's not only that. It's where has the money gone?
That's why our national debt is now so huge, because their genius plan was, we're going to save money by cutting back. It's like, you're going to cut back on infrastructure, thereby making it harder for businesses to grow. So you cut back on the NHS. So now when workers get injured or ill, it takes a lot longer to recover, if they recover at all. So you're hitting your productivity that way. So we're not going to invest in roads and rail or anything like that. So now it's more difficult to move things around the country. Everywhere they cut, what they were doing was to, even cutting civil servants. It's a bit like this EU if we cut civil servants, we cut red tape. No, you just put the burden of red tape on the businesses instead, or someone like that. So you're just taking away all this productivity. So of course you can't grow your economy because you're not investing.
And to your point, to your point, my council tax goes up every single year.
Yeah,
they're cutting services left, right, and centre. Cutting, police, firemen, all that kind of stuff. Local council just like road sweepers and gully suckers and things like that. Where is that money going? Because you can't just jack up the price,
Well,
cut a
because
service, and then go, deal
because
with it.
the council tax isn't going up as much. Well, the other thing is that the council is funded partially from council tax and partially from central funds. The central funds has been tumbling since 2010. And the other thing is the council tax has not necessarily also been going up with the rate of like the council's inflation for the extra cost of services, extra pay for work and stuff like that. So they've been getting way less from central government and not been able to compensate with higher council tax rates or anything like that. So yes, the council tax has gone up and services have gone down because the central government are wasting more of the money on like basically, well, you just look at the group of people the only group of people who've become richer, which is like the top few percent of people.
Yeah.
That's where the money's gone.
Money's also gone in various tax cuts as well, of course. So it's like actually just lost revenue as well that just didn't exist to go anywhere at all.
Yeah, but and again, like you say, where do those tax cuts go to? They don't go to
corporation tax. Osborne, no, I don't pay corporation tax. Osborne said, we'll cut corporation tax. Nothing.
They're running the government like Elon runs Twitter. You got to actually invest. You can't just fire everyone and start charging people.
Yeah.
You got to actually understand how it works and also care about it. And I think Elon doesn't understand how Twitter works or care about it.
Yeah. So who's bought a blue tick yet?
No.
I mean, a lot of people have, just so they can have some of the features they had before.
Yeah.
It's not a great strategy, is it? But
I was just saying, I don't think Elon knows how a lot of things work. Obviously, he's a vaporware salesman. He's a sort of 21st century snake oil guy, which is very irritating. Thank you very much, David Downey, for the super chat. Did anyone listen to the interview on Joe with Rory Stewart this week?
Yeah.
Did you listen to that? I thought it was really interesting. One of the things that he said was about, we sometimes talk on this channel about universal basic income, and he basically said he was before he became an MP, he travelled around Africa, he travelled around the Middle East, he actually travelled on his own through Afghanistan and did all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Yeah, he's like, and I saw this dead guy with birds pecking out his face, and I was like, oh dear, I probably shouldn't go this way, but I kept going anyway. I'm like, oh my god, nutter. I'm going to turn back. But thank you very much to Johnny Copperhead for the £10 super chat. Don't forget all the wonga that those bastards, hang on a sec, are pocketing left, right, and centre, indeed. Yeah, but one of the things that Rory Stewart said, which really chimed with me, is that he gave an example. I've forgotten where it was, but it was a village where the British Overseas Investment Fund, or whatever they call it these days, basically spent like £7 million on bollocks, on absolute nonsense that didn't actually do anything or change anything for the better. And he was involved in something else where literally every shop owner was given 10 grand instead. Everyone who owned a shop in the village, in the town, was given 10 grand. And that was a much, much better way of spending the 7 million than spending it on an NCO or an NGO or a company to come in and do the thing that needs to be done. If it was grassroots, it was people doing it themselves. If you give them the money to invest in the way that they think is wise for their own community, the results are astounding. You get like a tenfold increase on return, on what you would get if you just put 7 million in. And I think about this a lot because when I was traveling the world myself, I was raising money for WaterAid, and one of the things that drew me to them as a charity was the fact that they worked with communities to put in toilets and things like that. Because if you, as a Western company, or even as the government of the country that you in question, turn up into a slum and you build a toilet block, it's never going to be used as a toilet. You need to let the people build what they need to, what they see as important. You need to educate them so they know it's important, and then go, okay, well, do you want to do this and do it together with the community? So I thought that was really interesting and real sort of. Big thumbs up for the whole idea of universal basic income, which I just think it is a way of us freeing up so many people from the slavery of modern life.
It's something I've thought about a lot, and then I remember hearing an interview with Billy Bragg and him like basically stealing my thesis. I was like, you arsehole.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he blame Thatcher?
No, I was like, just give everyone on the lowest tax band 10 grand, right?
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? They're going to spend it. They're going to automatically stimulate the
in
economy.
their local area.
Yeah.
They're not going to invest it overseas. They're not going to put it in a Cayman bloody bank account.
The thing is about doing that is it's not just that they then get to spend it in their local economy, but they're actually spending it on things that they need as well, right? So they're getting that benefit out of it as well. It's not just disappearing, you know. So local businesses are getting what they need. You know, you're also paying your bills, so energy companies are getting paid and that kind of stuff, right? Your rent gets paid or your mortgage gets paid. You might be able to stay in your job because you can pay for your transport. You know, there's all sorts of other benefits. Well, if you look into the poverty premium, basically, you know, the poverty premium idea is that, you know, poor people spend more on stuff than rich people do. And there's hundreds of thousands of examples. You're basically solving a whole handful of them.
And the other thing as well, like,
some cash.
they keep talking about, oh, we need to make work pay. Well, there's so many situations right now where a person is disincentivized to work. Like they might, it's in their interest to work so many hours, but no more hours, or to work to earn a certain amount, but no more. So you can literally, particularly now the frozen tax bans, it's, you know, so your tax is actually creeping up. So there's people in a situation where it's like, well, if I go for this promotion, I'm actually going to end up getting less take-home pay. You get weird situation like that because tax, you know, it's like there's tax experts that will say, you know, if you want to simplify it, just smooth out some of these aberrations, and you'll do so much better.
And also get rid of that poverty trap, or the benefits trap, which is I can't work more than X number of hours because then I'll lose my benefits. So people work less. And this is one of my big arguments a few weeks ago when the Tories were saying, let's punish the disabled by taking away their payments if they don't work. And it's like, no. Give them more money if they can work. Let them keep that money for themselves and still give them the benefits. You're not going to be out of pocket as the government. It's not going to cost you anything extra other than what you're paying already. And then they'll have a better quality of life. And you'll have more people working.
Because the people doing more work, when we've got jobs going undone anyway, they're going to pay more in tax.
They also might have spent time upskilling, educating themselves, or, you know, looking after their kids, or all sorts of other things as well, right?
Number three.
I mean, the Tories.
Sorry, I just want to say there's been a super chat. So sorry if I interrupt you when you talk, and if a super chat appears on the screen, you should be able to see it on your feed. I've got to just say thank you very much. So thank you very much to Richard there for the super chat. The Grameen Bank in India lent money only to those without collateral, using group peer pressure to ensure repayment of the loans. Again, if you take things down to that kind of level where you're thinking about in terms of a community working together, yes, people are more honest. They do repay their loans because they want to be seen as good people in their community.
You're also borrowing it off each other.
And the society that the Tories have made is so atomised, so isolated, so dog eat dog and zero sum, and it's not a reflection of how a decent society should operate in any way, shape, or form.
And this is where the culture war comes from, because if we can just keep atomising people, keep people in these little silos, and then turn them against each other, no one can like come together as a collective and say, hang on a minute, this is bullshit. What are we actually doing? You know what I mean? In reality, we should all be just rubbing our eyes and going, the fuck was that about?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If we all had a bit extra cash, we might have that moment to stop and think about it. And that's exactly why they don't give it to us.
Well, most people's marriage problems, mental health problems, just in fact, actual physical health problems are exacerbated by money, by lack of money, by fretting about money, by fretting about debt. It keeps people up at night. It makes them less productive. I mean, it's just...
That's the other thing. It makes them less productive at work. If you're worried about how you're going to pay the bills, or you're worried about, you know, whatever problems, then your mind's not on your work.
The Tories are running off this classic old strategy of talking about full employment, basically. And the whole idea of full employment was to trick people into thinking that it was a good idea. You know, and it's like, well, we've got to get everyone employed, without actually thinking, do we and can we? Like, you know, it doesn't really take you very far.
That's communism. That's, you know, the idea that you employ someone to dig a hole and one day and then fill it in the next, just so they've got a job. But then I always go back to the old argument that I like to use of like, what is a job? Why is it that if you wash up your own dishes, that's not a job? But if you go down the street to the restaurant and you wash up their dishes, that's a job? You're literally doing the same thing. You're just washing dishes. Or if you look after your own kids, that's not a job. But if you look after the neighbour's kids, that's a job. You get paid for that.
But Isn't this the Sisyphus conundrum? You know, where he's got to push the rock up the hill, and then it rolls back down, and he's got to do it again and again and again, and it just seems like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
It's
what
also
are we
'cause,
doing?
what Graham's describing there is the fact that we've been trained to only think about our value in monetary terms rather than what we actually deliver to the people around us, right?
Yeah.
And which is a difficult thing to measure, and that's you got to acknowledge that as well. It's hard to measure your non-monetary contribution to a society.
This is the problem.
But there are ways to do it, right?
Yeah. The problem with this as well is that then Tories automatically think if you get paid more, you're worth more. So then you get some gobshite like Lee Anderson, who now gets paid 4 times. Well, now with his GB News thing, goodness knows how many more times he was getting paid. And he suddenly thinks he's more valuable to society. And it's like, no, well, someone's just chucking money at you because you just got lucky. The stars aligned for you. It's the same with me. I'm not working any harder than I was as a teacher. I get a shitload more money now.
Fuck it. Hello.
Doing the same.
Hello, Tan. How you doing?
I have got 2 beers.
Excellent. I've got some wine. I've got some white wine.
I was expecting a party, and you guys are like,
I'm drinking.
Excuse me.
Oh, so
hey.
yeah. Yay.
Hello. I don't think I've met you before. I'm
Hello.
Pam.
Hello.
That's Wayne.
Wayne.
Wayne, meet Tan. Tan, meet Wayne.
Nice to
How you
meet
doing?
Tan.
I've never met Wayne before either.
I've dressed up. And
Okay,
I'm
Scott.
drinking
This
red
is
wine.
Wayne.
Oh, I thought you might have a bit of port on the go.
Paul, I'm not
Oh,
60.
Port.
Okay.
Hey, I like a glass of port
like a
as
bit
much
of
as the
port.
next
I'm
man.
just gonna go and bust out the cheese board as well. Fuck
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a fellow Essex person.
Yes, massively.
Way.
He's Wayne in Basildon.
Wayne
He
in
appears
Basildon.
quite a lot on James O'Brien's show when he's
And
like,
also-
I need to talk to Wayne in Basildon. Hello, Wayne in Basildon.
Why?
And I'm
Yeah,
also
so you probably heard him.
I'm also in both of his books. So there you go.
Are you? Shit. Well,
And he's had a Ray Liotta.
You've had a Ray Liotta.
Right.
Yeah, he has, the bastard. I
Right.
never got one of them.
Graham, calm down. Get over it.
No, I'm never getting over it. He went, how long does it take to get around the world without flying? And I called up and said, I am the Guinness World Record holder, the only person at the time to have visited every country in the world without flying. Here's the answer. And he went, no, I'm not giving you a Ray Liotta.
Oh
And I
my
think he did it
God.
just to spite me.
And then
Not bitter, though.
I'll
That's
never forgive him.
amazing.
And then I ring up and explain how solar farms work, and I get a radiator. There is
Oh,
Hey.
damn.
literally
man.
thousands of people. That's
Mate,
literally
gutted.
Deeply
Gutted.
proper nepotism shit there.
Our mutual friend, Kieran the van driver, has also had a Ray Liotta. And
Yeah,
I've never.
Here in the van. Oh, Brexit fella. The guy.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah. The one who
Join
took
that.
on Jacob Rees-Mogg and just made him look like an absolute chump
It's not
because he
hard,
didn't
is
know
it?
what he was talking about at all.
Oh, he's a
Yeah.
legend. Like, I like him. He's really cool. Well, we've got like North and South Essex representing tonight in
Yeah.
in the
Which
chat.
is good. You got some Southerners in the chat. Normally, it's just a bunch of Northerners. It's like it's like 3.5
To-
Yorkshiremen.
to be fair, on my podcast, I'm normally having to deal with Americans. So
Oh.
Well, Scott's American. Scott down there, he's American.
Oh no,
Oh.
not those bloody.
Don't
Americans.
hide. No,
filthy
no.
American.
It's okay. Come back.
Oh, it's all different on your
No,
one.
but
than it is on mine.
America
I'm pointing
gave
in
us-
the wrong direction.
America gave us some awesome stuff. All right, can I just say, TV
I am
shows,
one of that.
music,
But-
films.
But
Come
we've
on.
we've got to remember we invented them. All right. That's all
Yeah,
we've got to
yeah,
say.
they stole all our ideas. Yeah, but we
We
didn't know how to
made
monetize
you.
them.
No,
We made
God.
you, and we could destroy you. You'll
Well,
be back.
technically we did. It was Charlie Chaplin who like blew up Hollywood, wasn't it? He was British.
Yeah.
He was British.
There you go.
Yeah. And
Scott.
so was Hitchcock. So was David Lean. So was
Mhm.
Ridley Scott. And Stanley Kubrick wasn't British, but he lived over here. He was
Because it was a bit
Anglophile.
sad that they couldn't actually become mega famous and successful in this country, wasn't it?
Mm.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? We can't monetize our
No.
talent.
But
You know, I actually know one of Stanley Kubrick's grandsons.
what?
really,
Like-
what?
Yeah,
What?
I do. Yeah. It looks just like him.
That's so
Wow.
bizarre. How'd you
Yeah.
know him?
He's a musician. So
Oh, really?
in the music industry, yeah. His name is
Something Kubrick.
Click. His name's Clicky
Yeah.
Click Click.
his name's
Clicky-
Clicky
Kubrick.
Kubrick.
Clicky Kubrick. That's
Oh,
what
his
it is.
last name is Kubrick. His last name is Kubrick. Yeah.
Scott, what state? you in?
Sam
Sam.
Kubrick.
Scott, what state you in?
Oh, I live in London.
Oh, you're in
Londinium.
London. Oh, you're an impulse.
Yeah. Both my parents are English, so yeah, we moved over when I was 16,
Oh, fair dues.
and I've been living here now 30 years. So,
Bloody hell.
What state are you from originally?
Ohio, Cleveland.
Ohio. Okay.
The capital of Ohio is Columbus.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Graham. Well done.
Ask me another. But before
Capital of North Dakota.
it's gonna be either Bismarck. I think that's South Dakota. So North Dakota would be. Shit. I can't remember.
We're getting into one step away from fun with flags here, man. Have
I
you,
know.
have you guys talked about the by-election?
Speaking of
yet?
which,
Can we
I
talk about
actually-
No, we've been waiting for you, Tan.
You know
Really?
what, guys?
Oh yeah, we're waiting for you to get here to
quickly.
celebrate.
I finally
Josh.
talk about flags. I finally got my
got
Labour
special.
membership card.
You know
I
what,
moved years
Guys.
ago.
Graham was right.
I'm gonna get myself a drink.
Tell me,
Was it
Graham
Bismarck?
was right. Graham is Bismarck.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It is Bismarck. Thank you very
Yeah, you
much.
were
Sorry,
Thank
there's
you.
about
I
10
thought
Bill
different,
Wheat.
Means he doesn't know the capital of South Dakota now.
there's a 10 different conversations going on. I can't.
Sorry,
I'm,
Let me think about it. I think it's a
I'm
woman's
North.
name. It's like
Wayne.
Helena.
I'm
or
not.
something
I
like
don't
that.
say online where. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to get
Um,
myself strangled, do I?
Yeah.
Just want to say big thank you to Joseph Jones there for the super chat. We are sick of this shit, underpaid, underinvested, which is very true. Oh, and Ben Chambers is here. Ben,
Hello.
how you doing, mate?
It's connecting to audio. So what have you,
Let me
what
sp-
have you talked about, Graham, in terms of like the by-election? Because
Not much yet. I think we were talking a little bit about Trump and the fact that he's been done for what is it, contempt of court, but he only got
Well,
a fine.
another one.
His trial's next week, I believe.
Wait, one of his trials. But the
Yeah.
thing is that two of the people he has been charged with are now flipped and are going to testify against him. There's Cheeseborough and there's Sydney Powell, the Kraken.
Oh, they both went into the Georgia court to try and get a speedy trial.
Yes.
They were trying to get off, and the Georgia judge just went, "Fuck off." You're ruling it.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So that basically, as part of their plea deals, they have to testify against Trump, which means that there is a much better chance of Trump going to jail now today than there was a couple of days ago. And also, this is for Georgia. This is a state offense. It's not a federal offense, so it can't be pardoned by a future Republican president.
And not only that, the senator can't pardon them either. And what they were arguing, what the Georgia prosecution were arguing was like, if we do this speedy trial, we're going to have to listen to the same people twice. So instead of it being like one single court case where we can go through all the evidence in one hit, if we try these two people individually, we're going to have to bring the same witnesses, the same evidence back for everyone else. So, judgment. No, fuck that. Christmas.
Oh my God! So Cheeseborough and the Kraken won't be serving time, as Yoni has just put in the chat there. Yeah. So, but this increases the chances that Trump will actually go to jail, possibly before.
Do you reckon he
the
ever
election.
will though? Rich men never do. Like,
Oh, they do sometimes.
They do sometimes.
Conrad Black did, didn't he?
Yeah, and Bernie Madoff, and Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't think he made it to jail.
He did make it to jail.
Well,
he
he
just
did,
he sort of did. He didn't make it back out, did he?
He got to
Definitely didn't get out. No,
he got to the holding pen, but
he got to jail. He did prison though.
Phil, I've just noticed that picture behind you.
No.
Why is it like Starmer? Don't get me wrong. I want him to become prime minister just because we just need these arseholes out. But why does he always look like he's just been caught having a wank?
It's like, some people are just like that. It's just unfortunate.
no,
I do sometimes. in
He
pictures
does
if
look
I'm
like a
not
rabbit
wet.
caught in headlights.
he always looks like he's about to cry. I was watching an interview with him
Guilty.
earlier.
Yeah, because
Like
he's been
guilty.
caught
Yeah,
having a wank by his mum.
You know when he was talking about that Nick Ferrari interview was taken out of context, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Please, just accept me."
He does look like super guilty, like one of those, like a kid that's like done something wrong even if they haven't.
Yeah,
Every single picture, he looks like he's been caught, like, just putting the covers up.
One of our dogs is like that. Every time you look at him, he looks like he's just shit on your shoes or something.
Shit in your shoes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
well, that Britain First candidate last night, I think it was in the one where the two were missing. It was Andrew Cooper's, so that was Tamworth. The Britain First candidate looked like a cross between like a dog and a cat. Like, it's hard to explain it. He looked like a kind of old grumpy dog cat. Did you see him? Like the super race, like Britain First guy. Oh my god.
No. The only ones I saw were that Reform UK one with like the light blue suit. I don't know which one he was for.
Like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, I can't remember which one he was for. I think that was for Tamworth, but I don't know.
I need to see this.
He was such a great ad, that guy, for like, if you never think you can run for election, take a look, because anyone can do it.
If you've got 500 quid, of course you can. Is it still 500?
The woman.
It's just the Dunning-Kruger, though, isn't it? The confidence they have that we don't.
Well, I don't know if it's confidence, like we were talking about earlier, or whether or not it's just an absolute lack of self-awareness. I mean, because that can come, like, because if you've got an absolute lack of self-awareness, you don't care. You're like, it's like you're bumbling around you're a conscious human or something.
Exactly. This is like dogs licking their arseholes in the park.
Exactly. And the woman he was with, that guy, the woman he was with looked like his hostage. He was just like in this video with this woman who looked like his actual hostage. And he had these like Union Jack shoes on.
It's Nigel Farage. No. Nigel Farage has those shoes. I reckon he flogs them.
But it's actually like disrespectful, from what I've heard in the armed forces, to let the Union flag touch the floor.
Yeah, you're not supposed to let it touch. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was in the Scouts, so you were in trouble.
Just like the armed forces.
If you were going under trees, because you couldn't let it get caught up in a tree, and you weren't allowed to let it hit the ground.
Never far from a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, and Tan, you know what you just reminded me of? Remember the old Little Britain sketches where they used to walk out with it was supposed to be the Tory MP, like
yeah.
It's just, as soon as you said that, I was like, fuck it.
When he reads out,
there's more memes of that than they've done sketches of it.
So many.
There were so many good memes today. There were so many good memes coming out. Absolutely brilliant. I should have got a collection of them to show people on this show. But I'm not that organised. Just a big shout out to Johnny Copperhead there for the super chat. Trump is entitled to Secret Service protection for life. He'll serve any sentence under house arrest. Well, I don't know, because if you think about Secret Service protection, it will be a lot easier for them to watch him in a cell on a CCTV monitor.
Yep, that's exactly true. They're not exonerated from going to prison at all. Yeah. It's been proven in court. No.
Excellent. And then I've got James Cole. Thank you very much for the super chat. Great to see all the tactical voting in all the by-elections. So hopefully it will hold and we can get rid of even more Tories together than we can alone, which I completely agree with. And you're with that, aren't you, Josh? Tactical voting, good thing or bad thing?
Absolutely. Do you want the honest answer?
It's a bad thing because we have to do
it.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to do it, but we do have to do it. Get the Tories out.
Yeah, I mean, I do hate it, and obviously we want a more proportionate, way of electing people. But the point is, voting is an incredible tool, and we have to use the system we've got. So, right now, love it. Want to get rid of it, but love it.
You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. Let's go.
I love Captain Bart Roberts in the chat is calling Trump Trumple Filth Skin, which I really like. That's very, very good.
Trumple Thin Skin was one of them, wasn't it?
And a big shout out to Ben. Hi, Ben. You're very quiet tonight.
Sorry, no. I'm just listening and observing and soaking it all up.
So why aren't you here? Why aren't you here with me? Catherine's gone out with her mates tonight.
I'm not there
on my own. I said, Ben, come over and watch horror movies with me. Because I get a bit
you
scared.
Told me not to bother because the weather was so shitty.
I didn't. I just said the weather's a bit. It is. Because Ben gets about on his motorbike, you see. And there's a storm going on in Durham at the moment. And
storm going on in Britain.
Well, yeah. Well, Catherine tried to drive to town.
It's a little bit breezy, it's a little bit gusty, and it's very, very wet. It's not motorbikey weather. I was just thinking about the Mid Bedfordshire result, and I'd be interested to know what Josh thinks about this, because tactical voting there almost wasn't needed, because you could argue that far from splitting the vote, the Lib Dems managed to suck away enough votes from the Tories to make tactical voting redundant.
Pretty risky,
Labour still
wasn't it?
won.
No, because the Greens voted tactically.
The Greens
Or
You've also got to
about half the Green voters voted tactically, you would imagine, looking at.
But there wasn't an awful lot of tactical
it's-
voting in Mid Bedfordshire, was there? I mean, there was perhaps there was a lot more.
I think there was.
You think
there was? Yeah, absolutely. Because what
In what
people
way, though?
anyone who wanted to tactically vote will go, who do we go for? You go to the bookies odds and go, oh, Labour. So what the Lib Dems were doing was exactly what I did a video 5 days ago when everyone was going, oh, the Lib Dems and Labour are at each other. And it's like, at the beginning, I'm quite sure they were. And I suppose there was still a bit of needling. But what I said is, how do we know? Because has anyone actually checked if the Lib Dems are actually campaigning hardest in those areas that are like proper true blue? They'll never flip to Labour, but they might vote Lib Dem or just be persuaded to stay at home and have a coffee. And that's what they're now claiming. And a certain amount of it will. I'm quite sure the Lib Dems are still butthurt that Labour went, because they never would have gone for a seat like this in the past. But at the same time, I do think it would have hurt the Lib Dems to have taken Labour out and let the Tories win, because what would have happened is, come the general election, like Labour activists at the best of times don't necessarily like the Lib Dems. They blame them for austerity, and they would have said, right, you screwed us over, we'll screw you over, even though that means screwing themselves over, right? So now you can actually have the narrative, actually the Lib Dems helped, and so it's all back to being pally again. I think
there's
did.
a certain kind of Tory voter,
help.
though, who will be persuaded to vote Lib Dem,
Yeah.
but never in a million years would touch Labour.
And that brings the Conservative vote down.
It does, but that's clearly what happened in Mid Bedfordshire. Well, to some extent, we don't know, do we? I mean, you can't. I mean, look. Andrew Bowie this morning is the one that really, really got me. I can't work out whether he is just absolutely mental or
He's an idiot,
or just suffering from severe denial.
Really
because
simple.
he actually said, what this shows is that we're on the right track. People are supporting our policies. They just didn't want to come out and vote for us. Honestly, where do you begin with
the
that?
other thing as well, what he said was,
it's a bit cold.
He specifically said, oh, when we've been knocking on the doors, people support our politics. Like, well, you weren't knocking on the doors, though, were you?
Yeah.
You can hardly get any activists together. All you see is Greg Hands. I feel sorry, when people pick on Greg Hands, I feel sorry for him. He's the only one going out, and he is an idiot, but you can't pick on thick kids. It's not
He's
nice.
making a target of himself. A target.
But there's no one else going out there. Like, if you look at Tamworth and Mid Bedfordshire, like all the Labour top brass were out there the last few days. Who else was out there? Rishi Sunak's pissed off out
Sunak
the
left the
country.
Of course.
Yeah. Where's Willa Braverman?
Let's not talk
Where's
about that.
Theresa Coffey? Where's where's any of them? Where's Kemi Badenoch? Where's Penny Mordaunt? All these people who want to be the next Tory leader. Where were they? Where were they?
In some ways,
I can't stand Kemi Badenoch. She's just a.
I'm not sure I can stand any of them.
I can't stand any of them.
If you're a Conservative Party member and you're looking at like, oh, who's going out campaigning for today? Oh, Greg Hands. Like, and he's an idiot. It's not helpful to you. But where's everyone else?
But could it not be
everyone else
that
has found their shame, or they just don't want to face the bullshit. They know that the game is up.
You've got a cabinet that wants their party to lose the election so that they can have a shot at changing, even if they're not in the running order. They want to change the leadership. They want to fundamentally change direction. Okay. So it's in their interest to lose.
So if the Tory leadership came down to Kemi Badenoch or Suella Braverman,
oh Christ,
who would you vote for? You have to vote for one. You can't abstain. Phil, who would you vote for?
Kemi Badenoch in a heartbeat. Suella Braverman's too toxic. It's not just that she's nuts. That she's toxic. She's really horrible.
Josh, who would you vote for, mate?
Yeah, Kemi, I think as well. Yeah.
Scott?
I hate you for making us choose.
Shooting myself in the head. I'm not voting for either of them. Absolutely not.
This is like terminal cancer or terminal dementia. What would you rather have?
Well, would I rather would I rather be shit on, or would I rather be shit on?
Talking of being defecated on, did anyone see the article today about how there's like a kink site online, and it accommodates all kinds of different fetishes and kinks.
Yeah.
but it doesn't accept people who vote to Conservatives. And one of the examples it gave was this idea that like there were people out there saying, yes, it's okay for you to poo on me, but I'm gonna draw the line
as long as you're not a Tory.
Conservative.
Yeah, because they've already done it.
Yeah, they've already been shat on from
Exactly.
repeatedly.
I don't need you to do it again.
2 girls, 1 cup.
Wayne, who would you vote for if you had to vote out the Suella Braverman or Kemi Badenoch?
I would get a whole ring of dynamite, put it around Canvey Island, blow it up, push it out to sea, and I'd sit on there. I'd be like, that'd do me.
Okay, you're not allowed to abstain. You got to pick one.
Say me or Scott?
No, this is the
I haven't picked one. I would pick Kemi because Suella is
votes for Kemi.
Joe, I would go for Suella because she looks like one of the gelflings from Dark Crystal.
The one of the gelflings. I think she looks more like one of the Skeksis myself. But there you go. All right,
no. She looks like a gelfling, but she acts like a Skeksy.
Yeah. Looks like a gelfling, acts like a... I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's to me.
No, have you not seen Dark Crystal?
Jim Henson's mid 80s magnum opus.
Nah, the only fantasy that I'm into is
hello.
That is Legend of Zelda.
Yeah,
Legend of Zelda. That's it.
Zelda.
But no,
right?
I refuse to choose. I think this is a bullshit question. It's like choosing how to be killed. No. No.
Well, there are better ways to be killed than, others.
Both will kill me. I just don't know how. That's the problem. It's just corporal punishment or.
What about you?
Come live on Canvey with me.
Canvey.
Ben,
your room setup's freaking me out. I keep thinking I'm going to see someone like peering around.
I keep thinking I'm going to see Jamiroquai standing there, and the whole room will move around him.
Oh yeah, virtual insanity.
Bit of a niche reference there. Ben, who would you vote for? Kemi Badenoch or
Kemi
Suella
Badenoch,
Braverman?
obviously, because Suella Braverman is just the face of evil, isn't she? But I was just watching Have I Got News for You? And I don't know whether it was a joke. You can't tell. The line between satire and parody and reality is so thin. But apparently only 1% of 18 to 24-year-olds would vote Conservative.
Yeah,
that was in the last YouGov poll.
1%. And 1%. Actually, what I read this morning was that if the Tories are wiped out the next election, one theory is that will push them towards extremism. But I don't, even if that does happen and someone like Suella becomes leader, I think the Tories have vastly overestimated the number of people that will go for that. Because as is demonstrated by all polls ever, the country is, as I think Wes Streeting said on the Politics Live show this morning, it's better than that. The Tories have vastly overestimated.
Oh, yeah, they will.
They really have.
At the moment, the Conservatives are where Labour were a few years ago.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, in Labour, many of us on the left believe in certain policies are best for the country. It's just that there's the difference between people that go, so therefore we must do it. And then there's me that goes, yeah, but people won't go for it. So I need to compromise. The Conservatives are the same. Most of those are on the right and they have certain ideas and they believe that they're right. And they will, if they think that they can go for a leader who will go, I have a plan to deliver this, they'll go, right, well, we'll support you. The fact that they don't have a plan to deliver it doesn't seem to cross their mind. So they are in. And I cannot understand it, how the Conservatives looked at what Labour did and went, we should do that. I don't get it. And I know because they've got the media on their side, it's not as destructive for them. But it's still not really going to work.
No, it won't. It won't. The only way for that party to survive when they're annihilated is to shift back as far towards the centre as they can. And the last thing they need is a leader like Suella Braverman because, she is ill. There's no way she's going to be able to do that.
Loads of them are. It's just extremists. All the moderates got put out after Brexit. And the other thing
it's going to have to be someone that's kept their head down.
Then it's not going to happen to begin with. It will eventually when they get sick of losing, if they keep losing.
Well, it depends.
But to begin with, they haven't got anyone. Who is there?
Yeah.
Who is there that's vaguely sensible to go
There's
from?
no one prominent, no.
Who is there for
that's
what?
why I say it's going to have to be somebody who's kept their head down. I mean, they still have a majority of 60, 70? There's a hell of a lot of people we don't even know who they are.
Yeah, but
they've kept their head down. Someone like Nigel Hiddleston.
But then they're not going to have support.
They've
Well,
gone
Here's
through
what
the
will
entire
happen. I'll
team.
tell you what will happen. The parliamentary party, and bear in mind, although they're going to lose most of their MPs, they are going to get an influx of new blood because so many are stepping down in safe seats. So let's say,
hang on though, what are the safe seats, Phil? Where are these safe seats now?
They're not. Yeah.
Well, this was
the likes of
55th.
Swella Braverman's in one. Liz Truss. All the loonies are in safe seats.
Yeah.
Well, anything over 20,000.
Pretty Patel's in one.
Yeah. Pretty Patel,
yeah.
Liz Truss.
Wasn't
Yeah.
Bedford
We need them in safe jackets, not safe seats.
Yeah, very good. Wasn't Bedfordshire
That's
the
the problem.
55th safest seat though, Phil?
Sixth.
I thought it was like
It's like the 30th.
It was one of the
33rd or
really
something.
safe ones. So
Yeah.
I mean, there is no such thing.
But that's not in the general election. That's going back.
But there's
Well,
no
yeah.
guaranteed safe seat now, though, is there? Not
In the general
coming
election,
back to
there
your-
is, because you can't
Really?
target every seat like you can a by-election.
Well-
By-election, you throw everything at it.
Yeah,
Labour
yeah.
were living in mid-Bedfordshire, basically, and Tamworth. Like, you can focus on two. You can't, like, Labour are going to have a target of about, they're going to have a solid target of about 150 seats, and then there's like another maybe 50 odd that they can go, we can put some resources into this, and then CLPs will be on their own. Like, do what you can.
But this is exactly why you need a third party campaign, right? Because if the Labour Party and the Lib Dems can't go and fight everywhere, we can, right? Us, you know. And so, you know, if we can actually get people mobilised in all the other places, then actually, there's no safe seats anymore. And the point is, there shouldn't be such a thing as a safe seat anyway, you know, because it should be us, you know, with our votes controlling who represents us anyway, right?
You're referring to like the tactical voting side.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so we use tactical voting now because, like Phil says, the Labour Party can't work everywhere. Even though, didn't the Tories just put the spending limit up, right? So actually, they've got a lot more money than they used to have. So maybe they are just going to try and go everywhere.
Well,
they didn't put spending limit up for third parties, of course.
They're going to throw money at it, definitely. But I think
it used to be 19.5 million that they can spend, and it's gone up to about 35, I think.
Yeah, they say they're putting up with inflation, which is fine. It's just they're not putting, as you say, third party groups up with inflation because they know that most third party groups are campaigning in the interests of people, which is the opposite of conservative interests.
Yeah, and there's the other thing that was also like a major problem that I found, not a problem, but I noted that was noticeable last night was the kind of Reform Britain First lot coming in, splitting the fash vote, which I think is notable. And when people were playing it down saying, you know, it's not too much of a problem, and at the moment it's not, no. But if you look at how, like, comparatively what you were saying earlier on about there not really being an appetite for that kind of extremism, I think that's accurate in the sense that you looked at what they got, like 1,000, didn't they? In
about just under 1,500 in both of them.
I want all their names.
Deposit, but so it was enough to kind of put, you know, the Tories in a spin to some extent.
Yeah,
because if they'd had that, and that was their protest vote, wasn't it? So
I don't think there's an appetite for it within the Tory party of the One Nation Tories of old. But as I think it was the Bedfordshire seat, they got enough that had they not stood and those people who voted Reform had voted Tory, the Tories would have nabbed that seat by about 20, 30 votes.
But I don't think they would have done. Like,
well, where would those votes have gone otherwise?
Some will have just stayed at home.
Possibly,
For every party, it's a bit like if you say, when some people say, well, the Lib Dem shouldn't just stand aside in some seats, they should just not run a candidate. There'll just be some people who won't vote for anyone then because they want to vote Lib Dem. There's some people who want to vote Reform.
Independents too.
I'm just going to nip to the toilet. Graham, don't look at my arse.
Get a top up. There was, I think it was a Best for Britain report last year that kind of, it was asking voters of particular parties how willing they were to vote for other parties tactically. Lib Dems and Labour Party pretty much equal, about 2/3 of them quite happy to vote for each other. Conservatives much less than that because there's no one else, right? They haven't got an alternative, so they just stay home, right? So this is the thing. Any like the UKIP, Brexit Party, Reform, they'll just eat into the existing vote.
But Alex Phillips said this morning, I think she was interviewed, I think it was on Politics Live, it was Joe Coburn. She said their plan is Richard Tice's plan is to stand a candidate in every constituency.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, I mean, they will do. The Brexit Party
will.
I'm sure they'll find them from somewhere.
I asked Richard Tice. I didn't get an answer. I actually asked him how many candidates they've already selected. Because if they're serious, that means they should be well on the way, shouldn't they? Are they?
Yeah.
Are they? Does anyone know if they've selected a load of candidates?
It didn't take the Brexit Party very long to pull 400 together, did it?
But
I mean,
then
they don't need to be real.
They ended up.
They also don't even need to be members of the party because it's not a real party.
And some of the ones they stood clearly have been dragged off the street at the last minute and told to stick on a rosette and stand for the party. That's what will happen with reform. I'm sure it will.
They were made to pay for it as well. One of them tried to sue them, didn't they? Because when they stood candidates down, it was like, hang on, I paid to be your candidate.
Yeah,
we've drawn John out of the chat and into the actual show because he wants to tell us that there are such a thing as safe seats. Go for it, John.
He's got the list in his
Hello,
head.
everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, there are safe. This whole notion that there's no such thing as a Tory safe seat anymore. I'd love to agree with it. I'd love to agree with that, but that just isn't the case. Hey, some of us are from Essex, and I'll tell you what.
From Essex tonight.
Essex people.
We've got 3 Essex people in these
exactly. And we should know more than anyone.
Ollie, where are you?
That there is no such thing as a there are safe Tory seats. There just are. Half of Lincolnshire is a safe Tory seat for a start.
Now we know who to bomb.
Grimsby's going back.
No, Grimsby, Great Grimsby. No, that's going to go red. Definitely. That's Austin Mitchell's old seat. Yeah. It's Austin Mitchell's old seat, that one, isn't it? Yeah.
He was an arsehole.
Wait, let's not forget we got Wellingborough next, haven't we? Bonehead seat.
When are they?
Well, it's got to go through the formality of having the vote in Parliament. But
we don't. Bonehead? From Oasis?
Yeah.
No, Peter Bone.
Peter Bone.
Boner. Dirty Boner.
He got his old boner out, and he's going to suffer the
consequences. What's it around the place?
I think so.
On the curtains.
I'm a bit stuck on the timeline. There hasn't been a vote in Parliament yet, but obviously he will be suspended for the 6 weeks. I'm sure 10% of his constituents.
Unless he might even resign.
That's the other option, of course, isn't it? I would if I was him, but there'll be another one.
Does this mean?
Is that?
This means he leaves Jeremy Vine and moves on to GB News instead.
Wellingborough
is
Labour will take it. It's one that got a little under 20,000 majority, but with Labour taking these seats, they're going to take Wellingborough.
Anyone with 15,
I'm going to get.
They'll take Wellingborough.
I'll get absolutely shit off.
To John's point about they're not, there are still safe seats. Of course there are. I mean, if you look at and obviously tactical voting is the thing that I obsess about at the moment. If you look at the national polling, clearly the Labour Party is like 20 to 25 points ahead. But people still need to know how to vote in each constituency. Those are national polls, right? And so if you look at it simplistically, like a lot of people will, it's like, oh, you just got to vote for the other big party, right? It's like, well, actually, no, not in a lot of places. So there is still a risk that it's, the national polling does not represent the outcome of the election, especially under first past the post, obviously, right? And so there is a huge role for voters, to turn out, of course, to make sure it happens. There was disinformation, essentially being leaked, wasn't there? About how, we're gonna lose, the Tories, we're gonna lose, like designed to make us confident to not show up.
Yeah.
So we need to be absolutely resolute.
They did the same thing in the local elections. Oh, we're going to lose by about 900 seats or something, and they lost by way more. And then it's like, we're going to lose both seats. Do you know what you have as well? So this is expectation management gone badly wrong.
At the, in our project, Stop the Tories, Stop Vote, right? We just took that as a goal. We were like, okay, 1,000. All right then.
All right, we'll have 1,000. Yeah.
And we did 1,063. There you go.
And that was just net, so they actually lost more, but they gained some as well. So, yeah.
Can I just dive in on it?
Thing. Okay, yeah, sure.
So, sorry, go on, Phil. No, go on.
I was just going to say, yesterday, it's also worth bearing in mind there were a few local by-elections as well that were swung to from three Conservative seats, 2 went to Lib Dems, 1 went to Greens. So, across the country, they're just swinging away from the Conservatives. They fundamentally do not approve of what Rishi Sunak's doing. And there's one comment here, because there's been loads of comments from correspondents, like quoting anonymous Tories saying what they're saying. There's one here, obviously a fan of Rishi Sunak. The problem with the PM is while he may be a first-rate academic, I would query that, he is a fifth-rate politician. I would agree with that. He does not connect. He has the leadership qualities of an amoeba, which is very fair.
What the leadership qualities? Who said that?
who knows? These like correspondents have been quoting MPs anonymous. No MP's going to stand up and say that about their leader and have themselves named.
Oh,
You
you're
know,
talking about this
obviously.
was like a source in just
Yeah.
a
So this is
They're
Sophie
bitching
Ridge.
about him.
Loads of correspondents have obviously they're pally enough with MPs to get their thoughts. They just won't say who it
Oh
was.
no, of
because
course
it'll
not. They
get
won't
them
reveal their
shit.
sources. I just wondered who you were quoting. But is that the Christopher Hope article?
That's a Tory MP who
No,
said
but was
that.
it from the Christopher Hope article that you were talking
No,
about?
this is Sophie Ridge.
Oh, Sophie Ridge, because there was a Christopher Hope
Yeah.
on Twitter about how the WhatsApp groups apparently went all silent, and they're talking about how they've like lost all their faith in Sunak. But he was always just a runner-up because of how mad Truss was. It wasn't like he was chosen.
What happened was like when they had to get rid of Boris Johnson, North Shropshire was the time. It was like at that point it was clear he'd lost the public. That was like, never mind going back to 1918. That seat goes back to before the Conservative Party existed. It was actually the Tories, and that's what they were called. They became the Conservative Party 2 years later. It had been Tory all that time since like round about the time Napoleon was dying, and then all of a sudden it flipped. So that was the point. But and Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, and then a bit more slyly Penny Mordaunt, were the ones who were trying to actively gather support for a leadership contest. And lo and behold, they were the ones who ended up on the close to the ballot. So
North Shropshire, of course, they actually did vote for the Lib Dems, though. They switched to the Lib Dems.
Yes, they did.
That didn't really happen.
People are arguing now Labour would have the confidence to go for that.
Possibly, but it's all about who can better get it. Like at this point, it's like you don't want to try and go for something, that's in a place where, like a Lib Dem.
You can, to begin with, as long as in the last couple of weeks you appraise the situation and then do what's right. You can, if you can go for it to begin with, there's no problem with that, and see what happens.
Don't want to risk it. Don't want to risk it for a biscuit.
Well, they risked it in mid Bedfordshire, and the fact that Labour took that rather than Lib Dems is way more damaging for Sunak.
This is why I feel this is the whole anonymous source thing is quite sinister when you say it's a Tory MP, it's a Labour MP, but you're going out to dinner with these people. And I do know a few people that do this. They go out with these people and they're schmoozing with them, and they'll quote them, but anonymously quote them. And it's like, well, if you've got the courage in your convictions, fucking say it.
Yeah, but you can't come on. I would rage if a Labour MP came out and slated Starmer like publicly. I would absolutely. So you can't do that.
If you do,
no. There's plenty of councillors that have resigned.
There's plenty that say
but that's fine. Right? That's just them resigning then because they don't want to agree with things. I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with that, especially as a shitload of Momentum councillors have done it.
It's always how it's worked though with the protecting the sources thing. It's how the journalism style of like things work. But in terms of like with Johnson, etc., the client journalism got like pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Point where if you did anything to overstep what he saw as the mark of like disloyalty or going like too far in criticizing him, then you would just be ousted. Like you would
like Ken Clark, for instance.
Do you know what I found funny this week?
Yeah.
When so GB News had been banned from the Senate. And then Penny Mordaunt was going, they banned what are Labour afraid of? Are they afraid of people saying the facts? And it's like, hang on a minute. They're classed as an entertainment show, right? Apparently. So what right have they got to be there? But this week, the Foreign Office had a press conference and they excluded loads of journalists of established media outlets. It's like, are you afraid of the facts? Like you're shutting out actual news organisations?
That's what Sunak did when he did a conference a couple of weeks ago. He went to ITV, I think it was like Sky, and then GB News was third on his list. And they wouldn't go, none of them would go on Channel 4 News. They kept saying, a minister and MP declined to be on the show, but they would go on GB News. He gave an interview to GB fucking News, but it's just getting out of control. I can't even believe that they're like actual like ex-ministers and MPs are allowed to go on that and have presenting roles. Doesn't it go against the ministerial code to do that?
It should be.
But it's more against the broadcast
regulations as well.
Yeah, it should be against Ofcom because See, the thing is, and this is where a lot of people don't understand. Like a newspaper can be politically biased. It shouldn't be, but it can. Broadcast media can't.
No,
if
but
it's news media, it's not allowed to be. So that's why they choose to be news when they want to be, and then choose to be entertainment when they want to be.
No. The definition is news or current affairs. So if you're news, you have to be factual. If you're current affairs, you can say what the fuck you like. And that's the Ofcom regulation.
Yeah,
That's
but
how they get away
Ofcom
with it.
taken a back seat as regards GB News because they claim it's current affairs. We could claim it's entertainment and not particularly entertaining. But the last thing it is news. But the irony is they keep flashing up on the screen that they've won news provider of the year because they put themselves in a category of one because all the other news broadcasters are there's another word for it. Can't remember what the term is, but it's not news broadcaster. It's such a messy minefield.
Commentator.
The Ofcom need to grow a pair and do something about it because and the other thing is it is strange, like what Tan said about Sunak or whoever it was going on GB News as their third choice because the viewing figures for that channel are staggeringly low. And now Dan Wootton's not appearing, who was their star broadcaster.
I wonder why.
They're even lower.
Low, but it's an easy ride, isn't it?
It's an easy ride, but who does he think he's reaching?
I know.
That's the joke.
I'd better do Graham's job, as he's obviously fallen under the table with that wine. He's had a sip or two. So there's been some super chats. There's question about sanity, £5 vote. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, there's a £50 super chat. Sorry, I was trying to get Scott back into the actual Zoom
what have you
meeting.
really been doing, Graham?
I kicked him out, and I was trying to get the settings.
We was all talking about that. Someone getting caught looking like they've had a wank.
Okay, big shout out to the super chats that we've had come in. We've had questionable. we had Emma Price saying £5 super chat. I'm so late to the party. Been to the pub celebrating, canvassing Sunday. Had a great candidate. Love knocking on doors to spread the message. Thank you, Emma. Awesome stuff. We've got questionable abstinency, £5 super chat.
Questionable abstinence.
He's slurring, you see. He's had a sip of wine.
Absanity it is.
Oh, shit, I've just called myself out there.
Would infusing red diesel with cannabis oil make the countryside more left-wing? Okay.
Just keep the cannabis oil. Don't worry about the diesel.
Huge shout out to Janus Diem for the £50 super chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for what you do. Just want to support for all your time and effort you spend on this and the impact this will have towards sharing what's actually happening via modern media versus the traditional press. Can't watch the BBC these days here. This is Janus Diem. They've put £50 in the super chat.
Janus Diem,
I think
thank you.
Janus, thank you.
That's
so
also
much.
That's also a really good point that I kind of picked up on just recently. It's really obvious when you think about it because people are comparing what's going on now to 97 but it is different now because of mass media as well, right? Because there are people like us are able to communicate messages. We're not just waiting for Blair to do a press conference. We're all out there talking about this stuff all the time and moving people and like activating them and informing them. It's such a different scenario. And that's a huge opportunity, of course, right? For us and the population to take more of a role in our politics as well, right?
On there, Josh. So, and the other thing, the worrying thing, the other side of that is the fact that the Tories can use substantial budgets to kind of harvest bot farms to kind of put out misinformation and like they can use it in a way to kind of radicalize people that like don't really know how to use the internet properly. Like I'm not being funny, but some of the people like my great aunt etc will just believe anything that's written on Facebook without
is she called Doris?
She might as well be.
It has
I had to block her.
In previous elections there has literally been ad spend on Facebook for counter-information for specific constituencies about tactical voting. So they literally advertise. Yeah, no, but it wasn't them, weirdly. This is all well documented. I'm not going to mention it on stream, but you can go and find this. But there were people putting out ads, really highly targeted, telling people to basically vote for the opposite tactical vote to try and split the tactical vote. It will absolutely happen again. Yeah. So, there are a handful of tactical voting websites. If you just see something on Facebook and it tells you what to do, don't just do that. Go and do the research across the others.
Damn you, Temu!
And actually,
Temu is everywhere. Bloody hell!
Oh, bloody Temu! I get the weirdest recommendations on that. Like I had this Oh, I'm not even going to go into it, but I get the weirdest recommendations on there. It's not even based on my weird search history or anything. It's just like things I'd never even think of. But there's another thing that's worrying about the ads is that they all put like something out that looks like it's fact, but in the little top hand corner, it will have like paid for by the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
They don't really fact check it. Also, there's the fact that
it's
loads of Tory and Lib Dem ads were found to be factually inaccurate, like the upper 90 percentile, like loads of them were found to be inaccurate.
It's not just those ads as well. I mean, you've got this. There was one this morning. I think it was mid-beds today. These fake papers that the Tories put out, that proper print newspapers that look legit. They have no color coding reference to a party, certainly not the party logo, and a lot of people clearly fall for them. I reckon that is going to be an avenue that they pursue even more than the Facebook ads at the next election.
Oh yeah,
so tactical vote things, the postal votes or whatever, wasn't it? Like they were putting out. I mean,
the thing is, like the TV debates in the actual last election, where they turned their own Conservative Party Twitter into a fake fact checking.
Yeah, they did.
So, and that was how dirty they were when they thought they were going to win. Imagine how desperate they're going to be when they know they're on for a hiding.
Yeah, like that photo, like claiming the photo of the boy on the floor in the hospital was like made up, and claiming what was it, Hancock or whoever was health secretary then?
It was Hancock,
yeah. About 1 million since had been like attacked outside a hospital when he hadn't. It was just crazy. It was
talking about the dirty tactics that they're likely to employ. I mean, long term, I'm encouraged because I do think they've overestimated their base. But there's now going to be a 12-month period when all bets are off. And I, in my head, I'm trying to work out what the next stepping stone for the Tories will be to milk the public purse, to take the piss. They've got 12 months more now to do that. Pretty much with impunity. I mean, how much lower can they go? What depths haven't they plumbed yet that they'll try and do?
They'll find a way.
That worries me because they've got enough money and resources and donors to pull it off, and they've got 12 months at least to do it. You know.
Well, I mean that the thing that gets me is they've raised the spending cap to favour themselves. Labour are at the moment pulling more donations in, so that tells me that they're basically going to be saying to a load of donors, you're going to give us this money and we're going to give you whatever. So in the next year, there's going to be a lot. I mean, this fire sale of the HS2 land is bound to be part of it, I would think. Which is why I think Labour need to keep reminding the people who are planning on buying it, we're holding a full public inquiry. I mentioned it. That'll involve looking into all your financial dealings.
That's been the biggest fucking money grab ever. HS2, let's buy up all this land, we're going to do this train, it's going to save us this much money, we're going to get a bit more capacity, and then budget's gone up, someone else is creaming it, let's just sell it all off. Absolute fucking clusterfuck.
The other thing about that is that it all happens so quickly, it feels like it's been being planned for quite a while.
You know,
definitely. and a land buy off. I mean, there are basically people lined up to buy it for months, I imagine. You know,
definitely.
No, that's what. Go on.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, can you imagine the amount of compulsory purchases that there have been on houses?
Oh yeah, loads.
And it's just like, we're going to buy that for whatever we feel, and you're going to move out.
And there was it had to be at like market rate though, didn't it? But also they were doing it even when they'd made the decision to cancel it. They were still doing it.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of comments. I better call out a super chat because Graham's had another sip. But there's actually been 2 comments that are hitting my videos for tomorrow. One's from Anglo Norse, £5, thank you. It says, any comment on the Tory boss of the BBC going to address the 1922 committee? Yeah, absolutely ridiculous that the supposedly politically independent, he's not obviously, public servant is going to be answering questions behind closed doors of MPs of a single Davey, is it? I can't remember. So one of the BBC executives. He's going to be at the 1922 committee on Wednesday.
Tim Davey.
To answer questions about, why didn't you call Hamas terrorists? But he's answering questions. He's supposed to be a public servant. He's going to be answering questions of MPs behind closed doors, and it's only MPs from a single party, of course. It's the 1922 committee. So we're not going to find out what the questions were or what the answers were.
What the actual fuck? Where did you hear about that?
Oh, no, Huffington Post. I heard of it, but it seems to be well established.
I think this is probably Rishi Sunak's red meat, so they don't talk about whether they should get rid of him or not before he prorogues Parliament.
Well, do you know what? That's a great segue, because Rishi Sunak not giving over his WhatsApps to the COVID Commission.
Yeah,
you know, let's not talk about
and the media silence on that topic, the complete absolute blackout on it.
It's
no
shocking.
one's talking about it. Not just the fact that the actual now Prime Minister has not handed over his WhatsApps, but the accidentally on purpose lost my passcode, phone fell in the ocean bullshit that the others came up with free.
Well, which he
that
wishes he thought of that.
Rebecca Vardy.
That's the Rebecca Vardy defence.
Yeah.
Johnson probably thought he wishes he thought of that. But even the Sunak one.
Christie.
Yeah.
Amazing. That was actually one of my favourite news events, actually.
They made a documentary out of it.
It was really funny.
No, there's a documentary coming out next week with Colleen Rooney.
No, I've already seen the previous documentary. There was like a docudrama that was made about it. It even had bloody, I think, Michael Sheen in it. It had already come out. It was genius.
Times are hard.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. But Rebecca Vardy is inadvertently, accidentally a fucking comedy genius. I'm telling you, like some of the stuff that she came out with just on the spot in that hilarious. I would recommend watching it, but yeah, it's Rebecca Vardy.
You talk, Supertan, about media silence on things. And I think it was the last day when Rishi Sunak did his speech at the Tory conference about Northern Powerhouse Rail being the new substitute for HS2. Novara Media did an absolutely brilliant dissection of that document about Northern Powerhouse Rail, and how literally every promise in it was either made up, already delivered, or has already been just debunked as not going to be a thing.
Most of it was.
Even Nick Ferrari, I think, went on, it was Good Morning Britain or BBC Politics, whatever it was. And this is ostensibly a right-wing political commentator, absolutely mystified by the fact that they thought they could pull that off. And you talk about some things being done in advance and it's all going on behind the scenes, like with the land sale for HS2. But that Northern Powerhouse Rail, you've got stations on there that were on the south coast. You've got, I think, Manchester Tramway putting out a picture of their tram to show that it really was already going to the airport from Manchester. And that it had been since 2014. The Tories say that's going to be a new development. You've got stations in Durham that are or aren't going to be actually renovated and lines renewed. It's almost all of it was just made up.
It was made up. Basically,
and the media's been silent about that. You see, they put it out at the conference, Northern Powerhouse Rail. We're going to spend all the money we've saved on HS2 on you lovely Northerners and some people in Southampton, weirdly. But all of it was made up. And where's the comeback on that?
Half of them were in the south. Half of those projects were in the south. But also, then it got worse, didn't it? Because then, when they were asked about these, Rishi Sunak was asked about these things, and Mark Harper, the Transport Secretary, asked about these things. Then they said, "Oh, these are just examples of the sorts of things." So then it's like, so Labour can go at the next election, and they can get the Tory party manifesto. They could go, okay, according to them, these are just examples of the sort of things you can get. It'd be like the 40 hospitals. They won't actually give it to you.
I was going to say about the 40 hospitals.
Might do.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
this is a gift to Labour.
This is the other thing about what we might expect of Labour as well, right? And there's a lot of kind of talk of, if it's not in the manifesto, you can't do it. I mean, the Tories have blown that out the window, haven't they? Completely. Not only have they not done anything in that manifesto, but they've done a shit ton of other things that no one asked for.
Exactly, with no mandate.
There wasn't that much in the 97 manifesto, really, to be fair.
No,
there was one
if you look at that part, the promises, they were fairly
they didn't need it to be. That was the
they
thing.
Said
they were going in the
they
same
were going to
road.
keep with the Tory spending plans in 97.
That was the thing. Yeah.
Labour have done exactly the same thing in 2020.
But I think what makes the current period more remarkable than pre-97, 96, when Tony Blair was on the up, was that, he was a politician with immense charisma. A lot of people fell for that and went for that. Whatever you think about Keir Starmer, he doesn't have that. And yet, despite that, Labour are doing just as well as they were under Tony Blair in 96, 97. So that, to me, paints the picture that come next year, we could be in for an even bigger landslide than is predicted at the moment.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it, Ben.
What I'm saying is, you've got a politician in Keir Starmer. And I think what this also spells is that the public at large now are wising up to what populist politicians are all
Yes,
about, really.
absolutely.
And
So,
actually, you look at Bolsonaro, you look at
right-wing
Trump,
populist,
you look at
politicians.
you look at Boris.
Yeah,
they've now realised actually we kind of do want to get behind someone who's relatively boring, but we can trust and believe in. And actually,
and we could do it mentioning something that me and Ollie talked about earlier in the week, which is the Polish elections this week, because people were saying that things were going to go more right wing in Europe, where it was a bit of a shock result for the right wing because they got their asses kicked. Before we go into that, can I just say a big thank you to number 3 for the £2 super chat? Could the Tories block the general election somehow? No, I don't think they could. No, absolutely not.
People saying today that they might put it off until 25.
January.
That's all they
the
can
latest,
do.
yeah.
That's all.
That's the latest they can do, isn't it?
And I think January election would be very foolish.
I personally think that Sunak is going to wait until the India-UK trade deal goes ahead, because he has a massive, literally £500 million interest in that particular
I was going to say, is that what he's calling Infosys now?
Yeah.
But also the White House asked them to not have it in November.
Yeah, because of the clash with the US presidential election.
So,
and also, just before we go into that, Emma Price, £10 super chat. Thank you very much, Emma. As said before, I'm a nurse, worked through the pandemic, also have caring responsibility for my 87-year-old mum. I was wearing a hazmat suit, watched Partygate and bits of COVID inquiry, so fucking angry. And Emma, I feel exactly the same way you did. I watched Partygate with my mum, who I couldn't see during, their parties, and then my dad got taken into hospital in September of 2020 with liver failure, and he's got advanced dementia. He came back from the hospital, and because the Tories run everything as a zero-sum game in which someone has to make a profit, the carers that came around to care for my father are a private company, and to save money for this private company so these shareholders can make more dividends, they made it so there were no tests, there was minimum PPE, they weren't wearing face shields, and they were going from vulnerable person to vulnerable person 4 times a day. And it took less than a week for me, my dad, and my mum to all get COVID. And it's just a miracle that my dad didn't die at that point. And I watched Partygate with my mum, and we were just absolutely raging. My mum is the nicest, sweetest, most empathetic person you will ever meet.
I can confirm.
She was swearing like a docker. She really was, watching the Partygate documentary, because the fact is, we weren't allowed to hug our mums, and they were having these absolutely massive, coked up sex booze parties in number 10. 17 of them.
Can I just speak to that hypocrisy as well? Because when they first announced lockdown, they also announced, and this is when Rishi Sunak announced it as well. They also announced the Green Homes voucher, right? So my job is going into people's homes and assessing their house for energy efficiency measures. So they're saying, everyone stay at home, but we need to make some money. So you go out and I was going to like 10 people's houses a day.
Fucking hell. Even during the pandemic?
Yeah, whole thing. I was furloughed for a week. And then I was just told Green Home voucher was on. So you need to go out.
Death, right?
Yeah. So
Dr. Death, what they call them. Yeah.
I was there. I was like masked up, gloved up, and all that. And all I'm doing is going there to sort out energy efficiency. That's not essential.
That's not an essential job, is it?
No, but it's because they announced the policy at that time. They had to follow through with it.
How long did you do that for?
The entire time.
The entire of COVID.
Yep.
That is fucking mental. What?
Whole thing.
Oh my God. I got sent home in a new job, after 2 weeks of starting it. And in the energy industry, actually, an entirely new industry I'd never worked in. I needed some money to buy some extra lenses to do my photography. Was sent home. But the people I worked with were massive Tories and so lax. When we went back into the office, they would try to have parties in the office. A bunch of them would. They'd just get all the wine. It was almost a little bit like a mini number 10. They would sit too close to you, and someone came in with COVID symptoms, and they went right up to them and they were touching their chest, and they were basing their assessment on whether or not they should go home based on things they'd seen on Facebook. And I was like, fuck this, I'm leaving, I'm going home, like I'm working from home, this is madness. But I can't believe that they actually, like, we had the option to work from home because they were forced to. But energy efficiency.
Yeah, like, I'm going
to someone's house.
Going into someone's house, and I'm having to touch all of the surfaces.
Oh my god! And the breathing, obviously, because it's like.
Yeah, because
but don't worry. Even though it's a respiratory illness, as long as you wash your hands, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You wash your hands from that airborne disease.
God,
they knew it was fucking airborne.
Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah.
There was a BBC graphic very early on explaining to people, as you, like, even in the supermarket, you're going down a lane, there's no one else there. Someone's been there an hour before the droplets are still raining down on your head. Everyone knew. Everyone knew it was airborne. But wash your hands, wash your hands.
But I'm
because
going
it was easy. It was like keys on the lamppost.
I'm going into like small houses and checking to see whether they could have external wall insulation.
What the fuck?
Know? And I'm having to, like,
the thing is, they've spent the last kind of 5 or 10 years, but especially since Brexit, telling people literally, Gove's words, we've heard enough from experts, right? Exactly. And so they've been conditioning us to basically not trust anything we hear, right? Yeah. And it is literal Orwellian stuff. Don't trust them.
Don't believe the evidence of your own eyes and ears. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can trust us. Just don't trust anyone else. And there is. I know it's a cliche to say that these people are basically flat earthers, but like the Venn diagram is basically a circle, right?
Yeah.
Between all the things that they don't or do believe that they've been told to by QAnon or Reddit, and like that. But it's all on purpose, all of it.
Yeah. Well,
they all live in my town.
Can I just quickly jump in before Wayne?
Sorry, go on.
Just for the super chats, thank you very much to Emma Price there. Graham, my expertise is in dementia. If you ever need support or advice, just reach out. Thank you very much, Emma. That's really kind of you. And Joanne as well for the super chat. Do we feel like a succession of LE results, I suppose that's local election results, are building up to a head of steam leading up to the general election? And I would say, yeah. I mean, I'm really, really hopeful that this is going to be the way it's going to be in the general election. I can't see people going back to the Conservatives.
Sorry, can I just finish with just one?
Yeah, just let Wayne finish the point there. Yeah,
right. So I remember going to this one house in Chatham, and it's like a little mid-terraced house, and it's just this old fella and his mum living in this house, and he said, "Oh yeah, you can come in, mate." He's got his mask on. I'm just going to put my mum in the living room, and then you can go about your business. So I'm thinking, this is a tiny little house. You've been in all this time. There is absolutely no way I'm coming in here, because I've got to walk through to the back garden, mid-terraced house. I've got to walk through to the back garden. I've got to walk through all of your particulates. And I was just like, do you know what, mate? Just leave it. Wait till you both get better, and then.
Well, he was ill.
No, his mum was ill.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I was like, mate, no.
Oh my god.
He's like, I've got this mask on, I'm cushy. I'm like, nah, mate. I said, we'll rebook it for another day. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because the scheme was designed for people that are on benefits or low incomes, got like a 10 grand grant. So the majority of people that I was going to see were people that were living at home, like indoors all the time. Yeah. So if you've got some sort of respiratory issue and you're just constantly staying indoors and just breathing out, your house is just an incubator.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, you're just walking into like virus.
Yeah. Like, come get me.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, but that again, that was a Rishi Sunak initiative.
And like eat out to help out, which is like eat out to kill your nan, wasn't it? Let's face it.
I did a video on Eat Out to Help Out today, and it was scheduled to go online at 8:00, and I've just realised that it was scheduled to go online at 8:00 tomorrow.
Yeah, by default.
It sets to tomorrow by default.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it does.
Always
I do my content right, and I'd like tonight I was like a race against time to upload it. You guys are like, oh, my video that's going out tomorrow, you got them all scheduled. There's me. I did get demonetized. Well, I've had to review.
I didn't want it to go out tomorrow, Tan. It was a mistake.
Well, my one tonight, they're going to tell me in 2 days' time that it's fine once I've got all my views, but it's probably because I went a bit too far in with some of my
language
and descriptions.
Okay.
What the Conservatives have done to themselves. Yeah.
Honestly, Tan, I never think you go far enough.
There's things that I've actually like videos where I've actually saved it. I've got all the subtitles on it. I've got it ready to go out, and I thought I cannot say that. But I am sorry, Graham, to you in particular, because I might have made a ginger joke.
That's all right. I like ginger jokes. Like, for instance, have you ever seen Harry Potter? Have you ever seen Harry Potter? Harry Potter.
No,
the book or the TV show. No, the films. Well, it's about this kid who goes to this fictional school. Like, it's a big, like, wank dream about public school in the UK. And, there's all this magic, and there's owls and flying cars and broomsticks and all this kind of stuff, right? And what annoys me, right, is how unrealistic it is. Not because of all of the magic that goes on, but there's a ginger kid in the school, and he has 2 friends. And one is a girl.
That is really massively
Just saying.
Who was the ginger that got the wrath from you out of interest? Just because I'm intrigued to know.
Oh, Andrew Cooper. Like, all I did was I just played the clip of him storming off, and I just said no one likes a ginger baby.
I'll say today, right now, I messaged that woman that was in the video.
You did not.
I
John's
bloody
got a
did.
scoop on the woman.
Okay,
that
John, do you want to drop this?
Come on.
Not all of it. No.
Come on,
just a bit of it, because you know that person, that woman from that video, don't you?
No, I've met her before. Yeah.
Is she also from Essex?
No. I think she's from like Kensington or somewhere like that.
Of course.
So when I kept seeing the tweets going, oh, that's his wife, and I was sort of on a few tweets going, no, it's not. I know she is. I know who that is. But yeah, raging Tory.
How do you know? How do you know that though, John? Tell us.
You're bad. You're bad.
You're not getting away with it.
I can change the subject if you want.
Wow, look at this.
Whatever you
don't change the subject. Come on,
it's
John.
Probably not not as spicy as you might like it to be.
Most people watching this don't even know what video you're on about.
Tam's going all Paxman on you.
It's all right, John.
Not the first time. So there's a video going around. Some of you may have seen it, where the Andrew Cooper, the Tamworth Conservative candidate, was doing some last-minute canvassing in Tamworth, and with him was a woman who was basically, you have to see the video. The original one's been deleted, but it is still out there. You go on, I think it's on Twitter. I've seen it on Instagram.
It's got almost 1 million views, I think, somewhere. Yeah.
It's wow. Yeah. It is really kind of like, oh, good God, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
So basically, the woman that's with him, that's basically saying, and she's saying things like, I only back a winner, and here's Tamworth's next MP.
Yeah.
And I saw it on our little, we've all got a little sort of WhatsApp chat, haven't we? And which incidentally, the government are welcome to have, and look at mine if they want to, for the commission. So I saw this little video that I can't remember who one of you put it up in the WhatsApp chat, and I remember thinking, oh, what's all this then? And I just went, Jesus H Christ, I know who that is. Oh my days. So basically, I know her through the music industry side of things. Her stage name is Spoon, or Little Spoon or something, and so I met her. I basically go to this monthly music industry like meetup thing, where you get a lot of producers, singers, all that jazz, real rub shoulders, and we try and give each other work and that sort of thing, and we all have a drink, and yeah, it's all good. Anyway, one of these, which was I think earlier, oh, goodness me, it was either late last year or early this year. The woman in the video that is going around at the moment, she was there, and we got chatting away actually about all sorts of this and that and what have you. Very vocal, very sort of posh sounding, but did know her stuff on the music industry side of things. So we had a chat and all that. She said, I'm a singer, maybe you could help me, maybe this, maybe that. Let's hang out, whatever. So and I was just like, okay, yeah, cool. So I took a number. I had a few little chats online, but nothing really sort of came of it. And I just didn't think much else, what have you. And then obviously I see this video today and I think, oh, good God. And so I had a look back and I've realised I've followed, she's got 4 separate accounts on Instagram. I think there's 2 on Twitter. There's 1 Facebook. And interestingly, if you go onto Company's House and put her name into Company's House, there's a couple of businesses from the past that were sending products to Iraq.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So you know when you go down you get these little rabbit holes and you just think, who was this person I met last year?
Providing PPE then, because I saw the video late last night. Like what I said last night, 4 o'clock this morning. I was still awake and following like the results and everything, and then someone posted it in my comments going, get a load of this, and I didn't know what to reply to her having watched it. The cringe was so intense that I just typed in capital letters ha 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 ha, and then by the time I'd woken up this morning, that video, she'd deleted it, she'd got rid of it straight away. But people had held down on Twitter and just reposted the video, which keeps it in circulation, and someone had screen recorded it.
Yeah,
it's just like,
I put it in the Labour Social thing this morning, and that must have been the one you saw then, because I just thought, well, that's another kind of jokey video. Are you telling me she's not his partner then?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, I know she's
if
not.
She is. Yeah, I was going to say because let's just say that some of the things that was being
it looked like they were on a night out. It was dark.
Way she was married.
Okay, weird.
He was canvassing. He was on his way, I think, to that he suddenly got lost in. Because one of the funniest parts of last night was when obviously you've stayed up for hours, you're tired. It got to the point where the Tamworth result was about to be called. I don't know if you guys watched it live.
He scarpered, didn't he? He wasn't going to go on the stage.
In the hall. Every other candidate was standing on stage, ready to take their punishment or whatever. And they were like, oh, the BBC report, he's not in the hall. He's not in the hall. And he eventually kind of got on the stage and then legged it before the Labour winner had even made her speech. Yeah. But that woman, I think she was canvassing. I assume canvassing, or she might have just like encountered him on the street. I don't know.
No,
I know it's not his partner because a woman called Elizabeth was defending him over his "fuck the poor" if you can't feed your kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That he
sounds lovely.
Well, he did an interview on Channel 5 where he admitted that he didn't actually draw that flowchart in Biro. He just reposted it.
Well, that makes it all right then.
Exactly. I can't understand how. I mean, he did that in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. I think it was October. He's then selected as the Tory candidate. Well, you can only conclude they just threw that seat there.
Do you know what? Time got away with me today. I was going to do on my pad here like a flowchart for a Tory MP. Like,
do a Venn diagram.
Are you a bigot? Yes. Are you a racist? Yes. Fuck off. And that would be my little.
Did you also notice that his post actually said like round 2 or part 2?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Has anyone found?
No.
Has anyone found what the first one was?
Oh, really?
I'll tell you what.
He wasn't the first choice,
about
though,
his defense. His defense was that it was like as if he'd done it 20 years ago. He says, "I'm more mature now." It's 3 bastard years ago.
Yeah.
And
also, he's come off Twitter now because I can't find an account for Andrew or Andy Cooper.
No,
he wasn't their first choice for the Tories anyway.
Oh, was he not? Right.
No, because Eddie Hughes, who is is the MP for.
Yeah, he's not. He is an MP, so he couldn't do it.
he's changing seats and he's going to fight Tamworth in the next election. But obviously they weren't expecting this to come up as a by-election. So the Tories had an issue. It's like, well, hang on a minute. You know, if we can't put Eddie Hughes in here as a candidate, because then he's got to resign from the other seat early. So they put this other guy in, this Cooper guy. I think really just as, you know, basically saying if you win the seat, all right, you can fight it at the next election. But if you don't win it, that's it, you're done.
No,
So
really was, did they? I mean, this is the Bedfordshire candidate, Alistair. He lived there all his life, and they seem like such a lovely, wholesome couple. Him and his girlfriend. Like, I've seen pictures of them together, and they just seem like, he reminds me a bit of old what's his name? He's got a silly name. He's an English actor.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
Cumberbatch.
So you just said silly name, and then
I'll
say that name. That sounds like either a 1920s film star or an English village.
Yeah, or a type of soup.
Or a type of soup.
Like
I went to uni with Benedict, you know.
With Benedict, did you?
Benny. He didn't like to be called Benny. I only met him once. He probably
You'd have thought that he would like to be called Benny.
Is there anybody you didn't go to uni with? Didn't you go to uni with Rob Rinder as well?
Yeah, Rob Rinder is Benedict Cumberbatch's best mate, and Benedict Cumberbatch actually married Rob Rinder. Not like they got married together, but he was the officiant at Rob's wedding.
And they're all private school scum.
No. Well, I mean, obviously, but
I will not have anything said about
Rob understood from a young age that you have to sound posh, and then people will take what you say seriously.
Oh, we did a mog.
He did. Right. He did a mog.
Oh shit.
But Rob is really actually a very lovely person in real life. He is a genuine nice guy. Whereas a lot of the people who went to actual private school
aren't. Well, he's taught me something important, which is about the intention for legal relations. Because I remember watching a couple of Rob Rinders, and every time that someone's thought to, you know, well, I've not been in that situation, but I thought if anyone asked me to borrow money, I need to put it in writing. So there's the intention to create legal. You know what I mean? Like, Rinder taught me something.
So I'm not having a bad word said about Benedict Cumberbatch ever. Benedict Cumberbatch and Idris Elba. You ain't saying nothing about them.
I love Idris Elba too much.
I'm gonna fight you.
Idris, like there was an advert the other day. I was going to tweet about it. I don't know what they were selling me. I don't care though. I'll buy it.
Does anyone know Idris Elba? Does anyone know him?
If you do,
Wayne, you know him. Can you get him my HMS Apollo script? It's a retelling of the British moon landings of 1969, and I want Idris Elba to play.
Did you get him my letters? He won't respond to them.
I'm kind of 2 people away from him.
Okay, well that's close enough. Just get this script to him. He will love it. It's hilarious, and he gets to play Neil Armstrong. Right. You can imagine what Twitter will do with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be worse than him playing James Bond.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole point. James Bond. That is the whole point.
I would watch James Bond if he bloody played it. Like, otherwise, I've got no interest in James Bond whatsoever.
I'd watch Benedict Cumberbatch's Shaft.
What? Oh, God.
You goddamn right.
I can't see that. I really can't see that. I can see Idris Elba's Bond. In fact, I thought Idris Elba was going to be the next Bond. Is that not sorted?
No.
It's not sorted, is it? I can't see Benedict Cumberbatch's Shaft.
No, but just the irony of like flipping that.
Yeah, that would be a pretty big flip. That'd be a big flip.
You should start tweeting about it. Like, start a campaign.
Oh, do you know what? Imagine that.
Make Cumberbatch Shaft.
Yeah.
That sounds like an upsuit.
Just him in his big tweed coat, you know, collar up, you know. Jerry curl.
Yeah. Like one of those ones that like the sweet ladies used to get in the bloody overhead things, yeah.
Oh god.
So we're gonna have Idris Elba playing Neil. We're gonna have Sanjeev Bhaskar from the Kumars at number 42. He's gonna play Buzz Aldrin, and I'm gonna get Katie Montgomery to play Michael Collins.
Oh mate.
And it's gonna be about the British moon landings of 1969, and it's gonna be billed as just as historically accurate as Braveheart. Or U571, or The Patriots, or any American film in which they do all this stuff that they didn't actually do.
Do you remember the outrage when they rebooted Fantastic Four and they had Michael B. What's his name?
Michael B. Anthony?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
He played Johnny Storm. And everyone was like, oh, you can't do that.
Can't do that.
Well, I was pissed off enough when the Americans tried to remake the Italian Job. Like that really.
Oh, right. No, that was sacrilege.
That was awful.
Pisses me off when the Americans
That was horrific.
Our films. Like it's like, just fuck off.
Do you remember the version
They remade that. They remade Sleuth. They remade Alfie, and they remade all these Michael Caine films in the 60s and 70s. It's just fucking awful. Thank you very much to Johnny Copperhead for the £10 super chat. I'm private school scum, says Johnny. I didn't say you were scum. Was at school with John Penrose MP. He's not improved with age. John Penrose MP, obviously being the husband of Dido Harding, who was the person behind the £37 billion that was spent on an app that didn't work, which isn't quite accurate, I know, but
where's she gone?
I appreciate
she's fucked off to Belize with all the money.
She'll be selling the HS2 land off.
I appreciate
Michelle Moan's yacht, isn't she?
Is that a name drop, like a clang, or a I'm so ashamed?
Oh, it's probably a shame thing with that guy. I mean, he's an absolute
I
gobshite.
don't think we can blame him for him.
Any Tories in the chat?
No, not for Johnny Copperhead. Johnny Copperhead's top bloke.
Johnny Copperhead's
Johnny And as I make very clear, on the website, privateschoolmafia.com or kickingtheprivates.com or eatondisorder.com, they all go to the same site. If you go there, there is a list of nearly 700 people in the public eye who went to public school. And it says at the top, disclaimer, these are not all bad people. Amano Iannucci is on there. Rick Mail is on there. Philip Pullman is on there.
Yeah, Rick was.
Yeah. Loads of people who I absolutely
James O'Brien is on there.
And some of my actual friends in real life went to private school as well. I don't have a problem with people who went to private school. I have a problem with
not many, some. No, I'm the same. Like, some of mine went to private school too, but it's just
Technically, I did for 2 years.
Get
and
out.
Then my parents.
What happened? Did you get kicked out?
Phil, am I going to have to add you to the private school mafia?
My parents realised it's quite expensive. So when I was like 6 years old, it's right, you go to proper school now.
Graham,
It's too expensive.
That doesn't count if you were like 4 at the time.
So it's like
that
what
was
you would
something
call
else.
Who knows what he took
Greg Hans did last week. He retweeted this absurd story in the Telegraph of this woman, and she's got some dodgy links to the Tory party, I believe, claiming that she was going to have to sell a house to quote, keep her son in school. And as a number of people pointed out, everyone's entitled to a school space and it's free.
Yes,
it's just reaching
currently.
I like that line though of like if you can't afford to pay VAT on your school fees, you shouldn't have had children.
Do you know? Because Ferrari comes out with his fucking quote all the time. He's like, well, some people don't go on holiday. Their car is, made up with gaffer tape, and they're trying to send their kids to private school. It's like, well, that school next door to their house is quite all right.
Well, assuming it's still standing.
Yeah, ain't got that moody concrete.
As long as it ain't in Essex.
What annoys me most?
One of the good things.
Got that fucking cycle.
All of them.
One of the good things about Labour pushing for VAT on private schools is that it's making people who might not be able to quite afford to send their kids to private schools feel aggrieved, and they're feeling like, well, if I can't have it, then nobody should. So therefore, it's accelerating the chances of us doing a Finland and banning private schools.
But the thing is, the whole thing is a flex. Oh, little Tabitha, she goes to that prep school down there, and we can't go on holiday.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, Camelot,
I'm sure they can. I'm sure they can.
That flex is so in a lot of sport, right? There's a phrase, all the gear and no idea.
Yeah.
Right. So you might have like the best tennis racket or the best mountain bike or whatever, but you don't know how to ride it. And so that flex is just like that. Yeah, you might have gone to the best school, but what have you fucking done with it? Right? Have you done nothing? Have you done nothing with it? Right? So it's the wrong flex, isn't it?
It's exactly the wrong flex. It's like, do you remember Lombards back in the day? The Lombards, loads of money, but a right dickhead. It's the same situation, right? Exactly the same. You might have a great car. You might be at the best school. You might have the best cricket bat. You might have. Do you know what I mean? But Josh is right. It's all great, but if you can't actually walk the walk,
what you are describing,
what
you're describing right there is Leon C. That's Leon C.
Oh, it's totally Leon C.
Hatchback from Leon C. I'm getting all Carter lyrics here.
Saturday night. That's where you are. Go to the Peter Boat and hang out in there for a little bit. It's a good pub. I'm not slating Peter Boat. I do like it.
Peter Boat's
I do like it. It's just some of the clientele. But you're right. It is.
You're making me think of Dukes.
Big shout out. Sorry to interrupt everyone. Big shout out to Andy in the super chats there. Thank you very much for the super chat, Andy. Graham, if someone should play Michael Collins, it should be Liam Neeson again. Actually, I hadn't thought of that, but that would be absolutely brilliant. So Michael Collins, the guy who had to stay in the command module as it circled around the moon and didn't actually get to step foot on the moon, even though he went literally 99% of the way there, didn't get to step foot on the moon. Yes, Liam Neeson.
Right. Liam Neeson, could he fit in a landing module though? He's a big fucking geezer.
He can use his lightsaber to cut a hole.
I'm 6'3". He towers over me.
He does.
Liam Neeson.
Oh, I always thought that he was a relatively short king.
No,
he's a length.
He's a length. Yeah. He's leg, mate. He's leg. I didn't know.
He's like 6'7" or something like that.
He's pretty tall, yeah.
That's too tall. That's like giant. Is it?
Yeah.
What, the Taken fella?
Taken, yeah. He's got special skills. That guy.
He has skills that make your life a nightmare.
I thought that he was like a 5'11" or something.
You're having a laugh.
No, right. I'm going to Google his actual height.
That's not short though. 5'10's not short.
Big shout out to Lee Corn for the super chat. Thank you. Bellini's in Leon C on a Saturday.
No.
Right. No, but it's not Bellini's anymore.
That sounds like a Carter lyric. Are we going back to Carter?
Changed it.
Oh shit! I thought you were talking about the drink Bellinis. I love them. They're amazing.
Oh, Bellini's legendary.
Love them.
Right. Bellini's is now called the Oakwood. No, not the Oakwood. Oh, yeah, no, Oakley.
It's different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and my friend runs it. So.
Wayne, have you ever gone out in Chelmsford?
Yeah, fucking Chelmsford. Of course I have.
Do you remember Zeus?
I remember walking home from Zeus. I was too pissed, and I got a cab. But I had £11, and I said to the cab driver, "Can you get me home as far as you can with this?" And he dropped me off in Billericay. I had to walk from Billericay back to Basildon.
Oh my god! Yeah, Zeus back, and then Dukes and all those.
Yeah, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep against the railings by B&Q, right? And this police car pulled up next to me, and they went, "Are you all right, mate?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just tired." He went, "Oh, where are you going?" I went, "I'm going that way," like pointing towards the town centre. He went, "Oh, we'll give you a lift, but we're going the other way." And then they drove straight to the town centre. I was like, "You fucking pricks."
Oh my god.
Yeah, a long time ago.
When I was 16, I went to a radio gig and we jumped on the train home at 11 o'clock, last train home from Piccadilly, whipping Piccadilly, and we got on the wrong train. And me and my mate Dino, we travelled halfway to fucking Blackpool because it wasn't the Liverpool train, it was the Blackpool train. We didn't realise till we got to Preston. And we had school in the morning, and we ended up walking. This is before mobile phones were a thing. And we ended up walking down the M6 from Preston, trying to hitch a ride on the M6. And the police picked us up because you're not allowed to walk on the motorway. And they just took us to the next service station.
They didn't even take us home.
We were 16, and they just left us at like 2 o'clock in the morning at a service station. And we're like, yeah, you could probably pick up a ride from there. In the end, like it was one of the things where we kind of like dared each other to go and ask, go up to a car that was filling up.
Oh my god, they left you at the mercy of pedos.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, we got in a car. And it was a couple of Scousers driving it. And they were driving along on the M6. And the guy like, "Oh, lads, what are you up to tonight?" And we went, "Oh, we went to see Radiohead." And like, "Oh, who are they?" And we're like, "Oh, they're a bit like Oasis, I guess." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we love tunes. We'll put some tunes on the radio, but someone's robbed the radio." And we're like, "Oh, right, okay." And he goes, "What did you guys do tonight?" And he went, "He robbed this car."
Oh my god.
And me, mate, like fuck, driving all the way back to Liverpool.
That's brilliant.
Pretty funny. And also, I've got another. Someone was talking about Liam Neeson playing Michael Collins. Someone said, "Didn't Liam Neeson find the IRA?" It just got me thinking. A couple of weeks ago, we were at the Ash gig, and we were chatting with them, and they've got a new album out, and it's called like Race the Night, and they wanted to do some like publicity for Race the Night, and they were planning to like do a trip around the UK in a DeLorean, because there's like a DeLorean on the front cover of the album. It's all like retro 80s stuff. And one of the ideas that they had, which is a bit probably taken from like the KLF, they were going to get a DeLorean in the middle of London and set it on fire in the middle of Leicester Square.
Oh no.
And then someone went, guys, you're all from Northern Ireland. That would be a really bad look.
I mean, DeLoreans were made in Northern Ireland.
Be careful wearing beanies in bloody London. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Shout out to Ash, our friend Rick, and also Mark from Ash, top blokes.
I have to make an apology. I've just been Googling Liam Neeson's height. Apparently, he's only 6'4".
Is that all?
That's only.
God, he's a minnow.
Yeah.
That's a foot taller than me.
Well, I'm 6'3", so it is only 6'4".
6'4" is pretty massive. Like, yeah, our mate Jules is 6'4", and he's like a green giant to me. I could literally climb him.
Was he actually green?
No, sadly not.
You should climb him and put a flag on his head. Next time we're up, put a flag on his head.
I could literally
claim him for the British Empire.
Him and Scott, who was in the chat earlier, who was in the group earlier, they're like my bodyguards when we go out. If I feel like a bit kind of like worried, they're like two massive man mountains.
You're like a tiny little person.
I fit into most overhead storage compartments, yeah.
And I'm guessing you've tried.
Yes.
Shout out to Yoni in the chat there. Thank you very much for the super chat. Finland first required private schools to prove they meet national standards, then did away with them when they didn't. Just an idea. Private schools don't have to follow the national curriculum, and they don't have to be inspected by Ofsted if they don't want to be.
Really?
So that's easy to change.
Well,
first of all, they need to make Ofsted fit for purpose. Then,
yeah.
Because like I know a lot of religious schools are like do what they like.
Oh, don't burn! I get really upset about religious schools. Like, how can we do that? How can we separate children into which footy team their parents support? Sorry, did I say footy team or religion?
Yeah.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same thing.
Am I going to get into trouble for saying that?
It's like, imagine being an Evertonian. Oh.
Imagine having to pretend that you support Everton to get your kid into the good school, and you have to go and watch an Everton match every other week for a year, and then you have to prove that you got a season ticket. And I went to all those matches. Look, I have all these stamps from all these matches just to get your kid in the good school across the road from you, instead of the bad school 5 miles away.
I feel my eyes bleeding thinking about watching Everton.
It's a metaphor, mate. It's all right. It's not that deep.
Wayne's a big West Ham fan, so.
Oh, here we go. No.
My dad was, my dad's a West Ham fan. Well, most of that side of my family are, because they're all from East Ham.
You're in Essex.
Who the fuck are West Ham?
Dad wasn't. Like, all my family came from my dad's side of the family came from like East Ham and that kind of bit of London.
I'm from Basildon. All of Basildon is bloody West Ham.
Oh, Basildon's West Ham. Basildon's just totally West Ham. Yeah.
Because it's nearer.
West Ham.
I have no idea where this conversation's gone at all.
Where's Chelmsford's Tottenham?
It feels like some sort of sport thing.
Chelmsford's quite Tottenham.
Chelmsford, Tottenham. Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind. So
Chelmsford.
Just before this conversation gets completely derailed by football, thank you very much to Emma Price for the £2 super chat. My niece came to stay with her 6'7" boyfriend. There you go. Bet he's good at basketball.
I love
how interesting.
My niece came to stay.
He's probably good at other stuff.
Back to politics slightly. The Tory candidate for Mid Bedfordshire, because I was trying to check him out, and apparently he was a professional basketballer despite being under 6 foot tall. That's his claim to fame. He's a professional basketball player.
Maggie in the chat is saying that she's 6'11", and there's a conspiracy against small people. And you are absolutely right. There is a conspiracy against small people, which is
5'11".
this. All aspects
4'11",
of our
4'11".
lives are designed around the physique of a 5'10" man. So when you think about where the handles are
100%.
positioned on a door, or where, and it's always a man. And that's why there's always a queue for the women's toilets, not a queue for the men's.
Mate, it goes even further. Medical misogyny is a whole different level. Like
Yes.
the heart attack symptoms are designed around how a man not only would have a symptom, but the parameters for how they measure whether or not you're possibly having a cardiac event in terms of like how your body reacts is designed around a man. Like ADHD, autism assessments, all designed around men.
Yep.
Like there's a really great book on it, and it slipped my mind, but I'll have to. If anyone's interested in it, I'll pass it on. But it's it covers the entire scope of medical misogyny. Like,
this is Parliament did a report some years ago, and this is why it takes absolutely years and years to get anything diagnosed if there's something wrong with your fanny, basically, because it's not at all set up for things like endometriosis or anything like that.
It's not the badge, like it's not.
But anything like that.
Anything that
call
it a nunny.
You want to try and get it diagnosed, it might take you 20 years.
And then, Tan, there's another layer, isn't there, with black women who are more likely to die in childbirth than white women.
Oh, shit, sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah, 4 times more likely if you're a woman of colour to die.
4 times. 4 times more likely.
I don't understand.
And it's not just that. I worked with Sister Space, or I've been speaking to Sister Space a lot over the years. They did a campaign called Valerie's Law, which was trying to make the police just do basic mandatory training so that they could better recognise bruises on domestic violence cases on black skin. The police refused to do it. Wow. And the reason they did it is because one of the women in their community, Valerie, died. Her and her kid were killed by her then boyfriend. But because she had gone to the police and the police hadn't picked up on the bruises or properly seen the bruises on her skin, they didn't believe her. And there's also that culture of disbelief. There's also like black kids being seen as like adults by police officers. Yeah. Like there was there's Child Q. There was the kid with the water pistol.
Water pistol this week.
Yeah.
Well, the story came out this week, didn't it?
Yeah, it was July last year.
Yeah, so they're treated like adults, and there's also like institutional. There was like the ex-head of the Met, a fellow called Leon. I forget his surname. Leroy, sorry, I forget his surname. But he was saying this is definitely like a marker of institutional there's institutional misogyny and racism and homophobia in.
But I think that's also it's a cultural thing as well, because like I've said many times, I've booked appointments on the phone, like saying, "Hello, it's Wayne. I'm coming to do your assessment and all that." Then I turn up on the door, like my uniform is black. I've got my clipboard, I've got my iPad and all that, and people open the door and think I'm a doorman or a bouncer or what do you call it? Bailiff. And I'm like, "Hello, it's Wayne. I just spoke to you on the phone." And like, oh, because of the Essex accent and the face, the two don't marry up. Do you know what I mean? Right. So there's a cultural thing that goes on with that.
They treat you differently.
Completely.
What do they? So what they assume? Just automatically assume they're going to see a white guy.
Yeah.
Oh Christ.
At the end of the day, like growing up here, like I've lived here all my life, and so I'm a product of my environment. So I talk exactly the same as all my peers and all that. But then if I talk to someone blindly, they expect something else.
Right.
And then when I turn up and I'm in a black uniform, wearing with me clipboard and me iPad, they think I'm there to take their furniture or something. Do you know what I mean?
There's 2 layers to that, isn't there? There's the race element, and there's also the poverty element. The fact that I suppose like a poor person is more likely to expect a bailiff as well. But then you add on to that the other aspect where white people just automatically assume they're going to interact with another white person. It's like the blind CV thing, isn't it? You guys have heard that blind CV thing where they've thought about introducing blind CVs because like names, like if someone's got say like a Nigerian surname, etc., that they're less likely to get a job than someone that's been convicted of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And if they're so they're like lower down the list in terms of being chosen for that job than a white guy who's convicted of a crime, etc. So it's insane.
Well, even my name, but my full name is, it couldn't be more sort of British and Irish. Then you combine that with me voice, and then I rock up, and it's like, oh, this don't marry up at all.
It's crazy. Or do you see it in like their expressions? Do they say it to you?
No, you can see people like you see people's expressions change. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
and as soon as I say, "Hello, mate," they're like, "Oh, it's you."
Oh my God.
That kind of thing. And I don't take offence to it because it's a cultural thing. It's something that people have dealt with. Like even like getting on a bus the other day, the lady in front of me was like she was a black African lady, and I say African as in I don't know what African denomination she came from, but the bus driver was really short with her because her card weren't working. He just went, "Get on," and as soon as I walked on, I went, "Hello, mate, you all right?" And he went, "Hey, you all right, fella?" and just waved me on, and I thought, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen that myself. My neighbours moved here from Nigeria a short time ago, and Rita, she's a nurse she came over to work in the NHS as a nurse, and we went to Aldi. We saw each other in Aldi, walked out, and it beeped. There was something wrong with their like beepers. Walked out and it beeped for me. It was like, oh yeah, no, don't worry about it. Walked out and it beeped for Rita, and they stopped Rita and searched her because she was a black woman.
Yeah.
It was just so enraging. I said, "What is your excuse for searching her and not me?" And the person did not. You could see them trying to work it out in their head. It's like this unconscious bias.
Yeah, but it's something silly that
it's something why we need. Sorry to cut. I feel bad now because I just cut way.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Cut me off all the time. I talk too much.
Why we need to have more representation for more walks of life in all walks of life. And I'll give an example. My partner is she's quite an important head of a department in her particular industry, and she's deaf. And last year when they had the big, meet up, what's it called? Conference. Piss up, yeah, conference. None of the talks that were going on had captions. This year, possibly as a result of Catherine, I don't know if she was the catalyst in this, but obviously she's made a point about saying it would be really helpful if you had captions because then I could follow all of the conversations, all of the speeches being made at this conference. All of them were captioned this year, and not just like Google shit, like auto captioned, but actually captioned very, very well with very few errors and no sexual innuendo, which is what you normally get with like Google just making up captions, which you might be getting on this show. But it just goes to show how much of a difference it makes when you have someone of a different background enter in any kind of sphere of work or politics or life and say, I need these adjustments to help me.
Yeah.
And what's been interesting is in the last week, Catherine's had a lot of messages of people who are not hearing impaired who have said, thank you for getting those captions sorted out. She's like, I didn't do it. But like, thank you, because it meant that other people could follow the conversation better, because it's always easier. And then I do this when I watch movies on TV. I did this before I got with Catherine. I'd put these subtitles on so I knew what everyone was saying, because I'd have a really annoying habit of pausing something and rewinding it if I felt like I had missed the bit that someone had said. But with subtitles, I don't miss it. So it's a huge point to make that if we have more people from more varied backgrounds in any given profession or industry or political grouping, then it improves the life for everyone.
Is that a super chat?
As the principle is basically called universal design, right? So rather than design things for different people, you just design something that's for everyone. And weirdly, OXO is one of the best examples of this.
Really?
They've done a load of So they've done a load of research on how to create kitchen utensils that everyone can use, but based on making sure that people with disabilities can use them first. And it turns out if you make something that someone with a disability can use, then everyone else can use it as well. So you just make that one.
Yeah.
So you don't have to make special things. You just make something that everyone can use.
And don't forget,
universal design.
If you put in a disabled ramp, it doesn't just help people who are in a wheelchair. It helps people with pushchairs. So people who are actually abled but have a pushchair can get into the building or get onto the train or whatever it is. So it helps people who are able
to try to eat their feet.
Yeah. But I mean,
so the OXO potato peeler.
High tide raises all ships or whatever.
Graham, to your point about the captions, I was watching a video. This is not a name drop or anything like that because Graham knows what I'm talking about. But my mate did a gig at Pride in Glasgow a couple of weeks ago. So he's there with his band doing their usual songs, and they had a guy signing the lyrics to the song.
Oh, I love that.
On the side of the stage, and that's the first time I've seen it. And I was like, of course it's at Pride. Of course it's at Pride. So
it's awesome.
It's about inclusion. It's about inclusion rather than exclusion. Just before we go on, I'd just like to say a big thank you to Esther Bede for the super chat. I've never felt so disillusioned to live in the UK with these Tories, but you give me hope. Thank you. I think they're talking about all of us. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Rachel Harris there, £10 super chat. Thank you. My partner and I are going to get loads of champagne in on election night, and we'll take a glug every time a Tory loses their seats. Our livers may fail.
Yeah, you'll be pissed.
I did that in '97. I actually did that.
Do you know what?
Rachel wants to know, what will you all do? So can you let us know what you're going to do?
Should we go round one by one? Go on.
Yeah, go on, Phil. What are you going to do?
I'm just going to make videos.
Oh, Phil!
Well, I'm going to be. I don't know what I'm going to feel like. I'll think it'll be quite mixed because on the one hand, I'll be thinking, thank God that's over. But I don't think I'll be that delighted because I've been through the cycle now, and I'll just be thinking, like, if you don't bring in serious electoral reform, then what's it going to be like in 10, 15 years? That's what I will fear. So it'll be like.
Okay, can we move on from Phil? Because.
Am I next?
Josh, what are you going to be doing
at my party? You'll be at my party, man.
We're gonna organise a
have a party.
big ass party. Oh yeah, and everyone's invited. Are we talking the night of?
The night of the election. So every time a Tory loses their seat, we take a drink. I think if you have a long drink, if you have like a beer or something, that would make sense. But if you have a short drink, whiskey, you will die.
You've got whiskey that
but you go to the toilet less. You go to the toilet less though if you have a short drink.
That's a good shout. Yeah,
I've moved on to the crack.
Yeah, you see. So if you're at a party, then you go for short drinks. I'm going to be pimping out the website, obviously, stopthetories.vote for weeks and and the day. Reminding everyone to get their voter ID, of course, right? Make sure you've got the time and all that stuff, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing. But then obviously, big party. But like Phil, the day after, the next bit of work starts, right? And that is make sure Labour are awesome, basically, right? I mean,
make sure Labour do the things that we want them to do.
Yeah, because they can't have a free ride.
Alexander Campbell, Alex, thank you very much for the super chat. He's just put in £5 for the election night champagne fund. So I will put that aside. Thank you very much, Alex. Wayne, what are you thinking?
I'll just get fucking hammered at my local.
At your local, come to our party.
Come to our party.
Come to our party.
Well, we're all fairly local from the sounds of things, so yeah, fuck it.
Well, we're not.
Let's go there, the Peterboat.
Me and Ben and Phil aren't, but yeah. Tam, what are you planning to do?
Well, I'm going to be tapping up I think I'm going to be tapping up Danny or someone else for like a venue in London. Going to get shit-faced.
Would that be Danny fucking Price?
What's that?
Would that be Danny fucking Price?
Danny fucking Price. Yeah, I've already spoken to him a bit about it, but what I was thinking, right, is in my mind how it plays out is that it's like a reasonably sized venue with all of us dickheads in it, and then just big, massive, like as if you're watching the World Cup, like massive screens. And then you can just have, you'll have like, I don't know, like BBC or whatever streaming on it. And then, yeah, you can, and then there'll be space, hopefully, for people to do their own little live streams if they want to, like, but everyone that's contributed to the campaign, everyone that's kind of got involved in it, all the people that supported us, that would be my ideal setup. So we need to talk about getting that.
Excellent. Ben, what do you plan? Can I ride pillion with you down to
what
London?
You all said? I don't know where the party's going to be, but I think there has to be.
London.
That's not jinxing it. It should be probably in Leicester or Derbyshire, somewhere in the middle. Because I'm up in Durham, Graham's in Durham, Phil's in Yorkshire.
Mate,
I say
Phil's going to be home making videos.
I'm not coming all the way down to London, and some of you on the south coast.
Illegal rave in the old Duke's fucking venue.
I would love an illegal rave. I used to go to illegal raves, but the police shut them down now.
Oh my God, sick! I'm in my late 40s. I don't do illegal raves. I think a big fuck off party, and then what Josh said. You know, all the serious stuff about afterwards, PR, holding Labour's feet to the fire.
Hey, I'm going to be floating on a barge down the River Thames.
Well, maybe. Look, I don't think we should go to Canvey Island because we're all going to be very, very ill. Also, a lot of these Tories, they're going to jump ship before the election anyway. So it's going to be some new intake nobody who's just shoved in at the last minute.
Yeah,
we've got Captain Bart Roberts offering to DJ for £2. So thank you very much.
How much?
£2.
Well, no. Captain Bart has given a £2 super chat saying, DJ.
Ask Captain Bart if that's his rate. It can't be.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good rate. Well, that's the whole night.
John, what is your plan for election night 2024?
Well, I'm going to get a trans party, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do just what I did in '97, because in '97 I had a hoedown. It was just insanity, which I think trans party might be that way. I think because at the time, I always remember sort of sitting there at 10 o'clock when sort of Dimbleby came out and said, "Yeah, it's going to be a Labour landslide." My girlfriend at the time, I was around her house. We were watching the
You were at home in 1997. That's really sad. I was out at the Labato Club on Duke Street in Liverpool.
Yeah, Graham, I just left school.
I'd left uni, but I just left uni, and we was at her house to start with, and then we went off to. We actually there was a house party because we live in the most, and I still do live in the most bloody Tory area in the country. It's the fourth safest seat in the country, and every time that was happening, we were literally just walking out into the street and shouting at people because we knew they were all Tories, and our seat stayed blue. Our seat stayed blue, and interesting. Just very quickly, Tan.
Do that.
But literally on that map that's going around, if yesterday's swings went to the whole country, there's literally 29 seats left. And guess where I live? I live in one of the blue ones still. So,
oh my God!
I do.
John, didn't you ever want to do like a purge or something? Like, how can you live all your adult life in a place where everyone else is voting for the Tories?
Because it's easy to wind people up on the local Facebook groups. It's glorious, and today was wonderful. It was just brilliant.
You know what? No. Did you?
No, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Up like that. Oh my God!
Big shout out to Emma Price for the super chat. Thank you very much. Emma's just talking about racism in her village. She says, I live in a village, was brought up here. We have a couple of ladies, one described as the black lady and the other one as the Filipino mum.
What?
I tried to point out the racism, but people don't get it.
Nope.
Oh my God. I wasn't putting my thumbs up to that. I was just like,
no. I think that was like just a little bit kind of like going back to what we were talking about earlier about this inherent sort of racism in British society, and also just
so normal in the village I grew up in.
Sexism, misogyny, in everything that happens. We're gonna have to wrap up soon because we've been here for over 2 hours now.
Did you make that happen on my screen? Is it my thumbs or is it the? Because
I can't. Yeah, it's your thumbs.
Well, it doesn't work for me, so it's clearly not universal.
No, I can't.
Shit! No, look at that! Look at Tan. Our thumbs are going crazy. Josh has got things going on in his.
Your thumb's closer to the.
Yeah.
My God!
This is like Pavlovian is training you.
What happened? People
tell you're a cat person.
And all I've got is my B&Q lamp.
Oh my God!
Doesn't work.
If you've got a real background, I don't know if it works.
If I put my thumbs down,
you do a heart and you get the hearts.
Oh shit! I can't,
do a heart. There you go.
I'm coming
straight from. Tan, have you got a real background?
What the hell?
Is that your actual background, Tan?
That's my actual. Yeah, I've got my little 64 in the corner there.
I must have had my settings set to crazy.
Way.
I don't get anything. I'm just
okay. We're going to wrap it up in a moment, but before we do, I just want to go around the panel and ask them what their favourite special effect is. No, I want to go around the panel and ask what their news story of the week was. So first of all, to Phil, what was your news story of the week?
I mean, we won some by-elections today. So that...
Okay.
I mean, we basically won 2 by-elections that caught almost every Tory MP by surprise, and I won a load of money at the bookies. So yeah,
I'm well played.
Happy days. Happy days.
You bet against your party?
No, I bet on Labour. When everyone else was saying Labour and Lib Dems were going to knock each other out, I just looked at it and went, bollocks, are the Labour's winning this?
Josh, what was your news story of the week? What was the one thing that sort of got you juices?
I have absolutely no idea. I've got tunnel vision on elections. So
yeah, well, wouldn't it be the by-election then?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, weirdly though, we just kind of sat back and watched it because we didn't want to make a recommendation because it was looking so close. So I wasn't as engaged in this one as normal, weirdly. So I was much more of a spectator on this.
Same
but
here.
Yeah, obviously, good result. Trying to work out what it really means. That's a tough one.
Josh, people are trying to paint it as like a thing against tactical voting. It's like, no, despite not having tactical voting.
I think we'll wait and see what the individual, like the breakdown of the votes was by like village and town and everything. But I think I think there was a lot of tactical voting going on.
I think just listening on social media, the first mission that we have at the movement forward, right, is make tactical voting a mainstream idea, right? And I think the local elections, I think, really kind of started that for us in this period. But yeah, this by-election, we didn't say very much, and people really went for it. So I think that is almost like we can tick that first mission off almost, right? People get it. That's what they're going to do.
Say that I think Ed Davey and Keir Starmer not upsetting people so much has a huge factor in that. Like, people, apart from the Corbynites who obviously hate Keir Starmer to like the nth degree, but like most normal people who aren't crazy, look at Keir Starmer and go, well, he's inoffensive.
But the other thing as well is like they're doing the campaigning right. So in Mid-Bedfordshire, for example, Labour actually sent people out to knock on doors in places where in the past they would have gone, well, there's no point in going there. It's no, we're going there. We're introducing ourselves. And then some of those people will say, oh, it's nice to see you. We don't get the Tories around here because they take our votes for granted.
Yeah.
And you know how your vote doesn't count, right? Or how your vote doesn't count is if no one comes asking for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's true. I'm glad we dragged John out of retirement because he was in the chat and he was like, no, I've got to make a point about this. But I'm going to go over to Wayne now. Wayne, wake up.
I'm here.
What was your news story of the week? What was your
the one that sort of dropped today with the COVID investigation, not the COVID investigation, the COVID
inquiry,
the inquiry, that Sunak is not going to hand over his WhatsApps, and Boris didn't hand over his WhatsApps, and it just seems that I think that story is going to run and run. But I think people need to get on it and stay on it, because otherwise I think they might sort of like kick it into the long grass.
The thing is, that's a criminal offence as well anyway, or it is an offence.
But
because
it's a civil investigation, so it's not criminal on that front.
It should be a criminal investigation.
It should be, but
like Grenfell should have been a criminal. Like Hillsborough should have been a criminal investigation. Because they can just get out of it. They can just go, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna like take on board the recommendations, and they just get away with it.
But Hillsborough did metamorphosize itself into a criminal investigation.
Yeah,
but no one went to jail for it. No one was charged for it.
And it took 30 fucking years.
Yeah. And it took 30 fucking
we
years.
We haven't got 30 years to wait for the COVID investigation. Imagine that. What would it even be? I can't even think.
I'm still waiting for people to fucking realise who killed Kennedy.
Okay, but I really want everyone watching this and everyone in the chat and everyone else to use Dr. Death as a new moniker for Rishi Sunak. Whenever you talk about Rishi Sunak, you go, "Oh, you mean Dr. Death?"
No,
because that's
DD Sunak.
No, but Dr. Death, it's great because it'll cling to him like shit on a rabbit's arse. Do you know what I mean? It will cling to him, and we need to do that. I believe we need to do that. Tan, can I ask what your news story of the week was?
Having to look through Twitter, I'd have to say the by-election, obviously. I agree with what Wayne said on the COVID. The fact that it's not been a news story is the issue with the COVID inquiry. The fact that it's not appeared in the mainstream media, and a lot of people said obviously the terrible conflict that's going on in the Middle East is taking up a lot of news space. It's not actually. Other news stories have started filtering onto the pages over the last couple of days. There's no reason why a sitting prime minister can't be held accountable for that, but obviously it's got to be the amazing defeat of the Conservatives and the sign that we're on the right track in order to get them the fuck out at the next election. So by-election. Will it give me the little things?
Didn't work.
Hey! That's so cool. That. Ben, what was your news story of the week?
Everyone's used up all the good ones, obviously. So I'll just say.
I'm sorry, you're just positioned at the bottom of the screen on my.
No, I've got two for you. It's a dead heat between the fact that Cardiff University Students' Union have banned blue shirts and chinos. God knows why. Read the story. It's on Sky. Seriously, I'm not joking.
Fuck chinos, man.
If you rock up at Cardiff University Students' Union in a blue shirt and chinos, you're told to do an anti-Uber.
Can you have one or the other?
No, I don't know if you can. You may well be able to have. No, apparently it's because over the last week there's been a little kind of. It makes me think of what's the
Bad Boys.
No, I'm thinking about the Kubrick film Clockwork Orange. The Droogs. Yeah. A whole bunch of people have been turning up, apparently at the University Union building, wearing chinos and blue shirts, causing a little bit of argy-bargy. So apparently now, if you turn up wearing that little uniform, you're told
it is a bit of a Tory uniform.
But on a more serious note,
I was going to say, before you go on to the serious note, I went to a party a few years ago, and the person who was having the party asked me to not wear jeans and to wear chinos for a change, because I always wear jeans, and they thought it would be funny if I would wear something else. And I didn't realize, like, chinos, if you accidentally spill any kind of liquid on them, they literally show up like a big glowing red flashing light, like, oh my god, there's liquid
it's just
on this.
Jizz, Graham. It's just jizz, mate. It's just you.
Anyway, Ben, back to you.
No, obviously the big story of the week that no one's mentioned is, of course, the fact that Holly Willoughby will no longer be appearing in Good Morning.
Firstly, Ben,
very, very sad.
No.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm very okay. I'm okay.
You're okay.
Okay.
Didn't a BBC reporter break away from?
The reason it's a big story is because that was announced by Mark Austin on Sky News from Jerusalem.
Jerusalem,
he literally broke that story from the heart of the Middle East war.
He did,
and instantly everybody now, if you didn't already hate Holly Willoughby, you hate her now. I mean,
but the thing is, on a serious note, I have to say, as you know, a fellow woman, she has been the subject of like a really horrific campaign where like her life was at threat, like she was threatened, like her family.
Yeah, but what, by a 50-ton pizza guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's exactly the kind of guy that will come up behind you and slit you. Women are scared anyway.
I'm not sure he could get off the sofa. Seriously, that guy.
We're scared walking to the shop, mate, in the dark. Like, this is the problem.
I quite like Holly Willoughby because I remember.
Well, she's good at what she does. Obviously, I mean, she's bright and breezy and everything. But
eye. That's the thing. Like, it's not her personally. It's the fact she's a woman in the public eye with kids and a family.
Yeah.
And her home was targeted, and she was targeted. And it's scary enough being a woman. Like, even me with like however many followers I've got, I get really scared in public at events and stuff because you don't know like who's. And again, I'm not trying to make myself out to be some kind of bloody Z-list celebrity or something, but you don't know who the people that threaten you online are, and you don't know who they are. So on that personal level, I'm kind of like, yeah, I get where she's coming from. But on another level, interrupting a live broadcast from a war zone.
I said it on my little radio show, and it's nothing against Holly Willoughby. It's the fact that Sky News genuinely felt that was the way to break that story.
Yeah,
which was just preposterous. It really, really was.
Just inappropriate.
But no, I'll refer you back to my earlier answer of the chinos and the blue shirt thing. That's a serious story. It's on Sky News now. It's really.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the girls
okay, John, can we bring you on your news story of the week? Be quick because we've got to wrap up really soon.
Oh shit! So.
If it counts as a news story, one news story for me personally is that I've started to like Greg Hands. I just find him entertaining, and whenever he's on,
Phil, come back on. Phil
I love Greg Hands because he is.
I don't like him. I just feel sorry for him.
That's what I'm saying. He's gone so down the rabbit hole. He's come out in Australia, isn't he? He's just like oh my God, where is he going to go from here? And now when I see Greg Hands, I'm like, whoa, stop, Greg Hands. He's on, stop. Just everyone shut up a minute. I want to hear what he's going to say. And I used to hate the guy, and now I just love it when he's on the telly.
Very entertaining. Like, people like calling him Postman Twat, haven't they?
Do you know?
It's amazing. I will say, other news story, slightly sadder, I'll be honest with you, is Hayden Gwynn died sadly yesterday, and she was in a TV show in the 90s called Drop the Dead Donkey, which was one of the greatest TV shows ever. And she sadly died yesterday. Yeah. So that was sorry to bring it a downer, but that was a great TV show.
A couple of parallels with that first one you said, because there's lots of things. It's quite surprising just how what the Tories are saying. Everything they're saying is exactly what they said in 1996. They if you'll believe this, even at the time, they were saying, oh, yeah, but, the public aren't really taking to Tony Blair.
I remember it all.
Exactly the same way. But another thing as well is the Tory party chairman at the time, someone, I can't remember who it was in Labour, said.
Brian Mulwiney.
Right. He said, we should keep them. They're good for us. Same thing with Greg Hands now. It is 1996. It's really that simple. There's
the many parallels are incredible. Yeah.
I think Labour deserve credit as well. Like, I know they've got a lot of things that they've got wrong, or there's things they could do better. I admit it. But to turn around a party in this time frame with these challenges, with this press, hats off to them, because it's
I totally agree. The speed they've done it is astonishing.
Unbelievable. But it's also been the speed of the Tory decline as well. I mean, it was all downhill.
I mean, that was, if we had more time, I could sort of bring some more into that. But to be fair, I will say, and I didn't believe it, Emily Thornberry wrote Keir Starmer from the start said, I am going to win the election. And Emily Thornberry wrote something at the time, which I've only just come across today, which set out how they could reasonably have done so. And it actually did make a lot of sense, because they drew a parallel with, like, after the Boer War, when the Conservatives won this massive majority on the back of that. And then because that didn't go so well, and all sorts of other, and all the stuff they'd promised, they had like a populist agenda at the time, and it all went to shit. And then they got trounced in the next election, and the Liberals came in.
Despite killing
1906.
Same thing.
Loads of people in the Boer, like just literally killing loads of women and children in concentration camps. We invented them. That after that, the Tories got elected. What the fuck?
They came in on one policy really in 2019. Let's be honest, they came in on one policy, and for wherever you stand on it, they did Brexit. Well, all right, it's a complete debauch. It's a mess. I know, but at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of people that voted for that have gone, well, they've done it now. So there were, of course, there were cons. Yeah, absolutely, but there's going to be a big cohort out there that's going to go, well, you came in on get Brexit done. Well, you've done it now. So what else have you done? Where's the Tory hospital?
There were three things. There was Brexit.
It's the
as far
UKIP
as
situation.
Most people are concerned, it's done. There was Jeremy Corbyn, he's gone, and then there was levelling up. Where is it? That was it.
It's not.
Yeah.
I don't think they've done anything they said they were going to do. Before we go, big shout out to Rachel Harris. Thank you very much for the super chat. £5 to celebrate Graham Linden's book flopping. Brackets, see pop bitch. And the trans flag. Thank you very much for that, Rachel. And thank you everyone for coming on the show today. Is there anything anyone to say before we go?
Should we plugs?
Plugs. Can you get all your plugs out the way?
My computer will turn off.
This one right here.
Stop the Tories dot vote.
Tories.vote.
A different bias. If you're not already subscribed to Phil, I think you probably are. Wayne, what's your podcast?
Bin podcast every Thursday, 8:00 on Twitch live, and then restreamed on YouTube the next day. We got merch.
The bin, as in wheelie bin, as in 7 different bins to have to put your stuff in.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just got the one.
Tan, big up yourself.
My platforms have already got out of hand. Like, this is Super Tansky Free Eyes. There you go. I make really angry content about the Tories.
Excellent.
As
everyone should.
It's already got out of hand.
I'll wait for my invite.
Tell us about 16.
16, yeah. SMR, the UK's only pro-EU, anti-Brexit weekly grassroots radio show. www.16millionrising.co.uk. Listen on your podcast provider, listen on Alexa, and listen on Mixcloud.
It's very good. And John, what do you want to promote?
I don't know. I mean, I could say, I do a radio show as well, but it's nothing to do with politics. It's just rock music, hard rock radio, Saturday nights. Yes. No, I would go with what Josh has said. Stop the Tories.vote. I'm working on that as well. Get on that. Get everyone else on that, and it's effective. We'll thrash them next year, all right?
But we will. We'll absolutely thrash them.
You've got to make sure, even you hardcore Labour voters, that if you're in a Lib Dem target, vote Lib Dem, don't vote Labour. There's about 60 seats across the country. Apart from that, get on it.
Brilliant. Thanks, John. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for all the chat. Thanks for all of my guests here tonight. Thank you all. You're all absolutely awesome. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye, everybody.